There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want.
Government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, from sharp. Let's be clear. I hear it all the time. Cumulative, definitely, I can play for the programs many times.
Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America. Made in America.
Welcome back to another night of Shtick with Koolfrogg. Look who is here. It's AmericaShirtsAreFirst.com.
Yo!
Heck yeah. It's always exciting when you get an America Shirts to actually come join you. It's a good day. It's a good day. We have America Shirts. Be excited. Let's say hi to everybody real quick that's around. Looks like Shiloh Ming said first. Beautifully inappropriate sitting with us. How's it going, dear? Good to see you. Looks like Shiloh actually went and popped up on that local side and actually said, "What's up, chat?" over there. If you all haven't already, please hit those thumbs up buttons wherever you're at, whether you're on the YouTube side, Rumble side, or over on that locals. Hit all that up. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's get into this, huh?
Oh my God.
Oh my.
Oh my.
So, share this one. We'll start right here. Controversial right off the bat. Let's do it. Growing number of Canadians welcome euthanasia on demand for non-medical reasons. Don't need a reason anymore. Just, you don't want to live anymore. It's all good. It's all good. We got you.
And do not worry. We will help you not
smile
live
while we
anymore.
do it.
Right, exactly. He's smiling.
So it says Canadians are becoming increasingly comfortable, almost cozy, with the Trudeau's government euthanasia program known as Medical Assistance in Dying, MAID, which some now suggesting it should be expanded to include the poor and homeless. You don't need a reason. You just need to be poor and homeless.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then eventually we'll be so kind and benevolent, we'll round up the poor and the homeless, even if they don't want to, because clearly they can't make the right decision. Just like the people who didn't want to take the jabby stabby thing, and it was like, well, now we're going to try to force you to do this. We're going to try to make it almost impossible for you not to in the Canadian, government there, up there and so forth. So, because it's just for your benefit, it's so healthy for you, it's so lovely. It's so wonderful, everything that the government says for you to do, right? So like, oh, well, it's okay. We will determine what's good for you. It's fine. You don't have to make that decision yourself. We'll just send you to some camp someplace. Well, then we will give you some maid and then, some maid in a chamber. And then that way we won't have to deal with you anymore. And then you'll be happy in another place, right?
Right,
because that's how this always works, right?
So it says MAID was responsible for the deaths of over 10,000 Canadians in 2021, which amounts to about 3% of the total number of people who died that year. 3%. 3%. I mean, it's not a small percent really when you actually think about it. 10,000, 3%. You do the math on that, how many people would have actually died in Canada that weren't actually taken out by MAID? If
Justin
10,000
Trudeau
3.
says to Justin Trudeau, "Hold my beer." Like they're going for it.
The Liberal government has stalled the expansion of the program to include the mentally ill and children, but has not said it won't expand next year. Two academics from the University of Toronto are now advocating for MAID should be available for people in unjust social circumstances.
Oh,
Denying
so if
people
you feel like you've been slighted by, I don't know, the government or by society or whatever, it's fine. We'll give you some MAID.
what's that?
You know,
Say
MAID,
you don't
you
like
could actually replace
Trudeau?
that. It sounds like
Oh,
raid,
MAID.
like raid spray. Like it's just kind of interesting, Like, anyway,
MAID?
you're the cockroach. You're the one that's supposed to eat the bugs when they see you as the cockroach that they have to raid spray, or excuse me, maid spray. I mean, maid help. Yeah, because we're not. Where the government loves you. It's like spray you with things that would harm you. Like that would never happen.
I need to be honest. Not this kind of MAID. Not this kind. We like you. We want you to stick around.
Oh God.
Denying people experiencing unjust social circumstances just isn't right, argues Kayla Weeb, a PhD candidate in philosophy and bioethicist.
Weeb. She's
philosophy
a
and
weeb.
Bioethicist Amy Mullen, a professor of philosophy in University of Toronto, and co-wrote a piece in the Journal of Medical Ethics. Yeah, medical ethics. Yep, MAID is totally ethical.
And in other words, medical ethics stands for what excuse and bullcrap gaslighting can we give to the public about how we can, kill people prematurely, or excuse me, unalive people. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I that was not, that's
What's
not a
up,
thing.
Heidi says Koolfrogg and America shirts. Nice. They're excited. They get excited when they actually see you now because you're like almost like a unicorn. You show up so special. You are.
Anyway,
wait a minute. What the fuck did you just say?
Let's move past that, whatever that was, and let's move on.
One way of responding to these cases
a
as
great
well,
distance away
clearly
from
then
that.
medical aid in dying should not be available to them. What? Really? One way in response to these cases as well, clearly then medical aid is dying. MAID should not be available to them. It's wrong to remove that right, she said. We just don't think the fact that social conditions are contributing to make their lives intolerable means that they don't have the wherewithal to make that choice.
Oh,
people
so
can
this is
make their
somebody
own
who's good. Okay,
determination
okay.
about whether their lives are worth living, and we should respect that.
Yeah.
To force people who are force people who are already in unjust social circumstances to have to wait until those social circumstances improve, or for the possibility of public charity that sometimes but unreliably occurs when particularly distressing cases become public, is unacceptable. In this essay, we consider questions arising from the cases in which people request medical assistance in dying, MAID, in unjust social circumstances. The decision made in the context of unjust social circumstances be meaningfully autonomous. We understand unjust social circumstances to be circumstances in which people do not have meaningful access to the range of options to which they are entitled the autonomy as self-governance in the service of personally meaningful goals, values, and commitments. People in these circumstances would choose otherwise were conditions more just the author's state in their abstract. That's a very broad definition of poverty. And that could even apply to people making a six-figure income, but believe they should be making more. What? Six-figure income's not enough now? You know, if you don't feel that that six-figure income's enough for you,
The government will help you by,
we'll help you.
by turning you into Soylent Green is how they'll help you. It'll be fun. It'll be wonderful.
Madcore mofo. What is up, brother? I just, that's a very broad definition of poverty, and it could even apply to people making a six-figure income. The six-figure income it just boggles my mind that you could actually think that you're in poverty with a six-figure income.
I mean, there are people in Hollywood that think they're oppressed. So, I mean, but hey, let's have those people go first, right? Let's have those people go first, like it's fine. But see, that's the gaslighting, right? It's just like, oh, really? You feel bad? You feel whatever? Like, let's maid you, maid spray you. I mean, maid help you.
Maid. Yep. Apparently, a large majority of Canadians are okay with the government assisting people in committing unaliving themselves. Oh, isn't that something? A research company found that 73% of those surveyed approved of the MAID program, with only 16% objecting. The poll also discovered that many Canadians think MAID should be expanded well beyond the initial focus of people suffering from terminal diseases. People have to deal with poverty. 27% of the poll participants said assisted unaliving should be an option for them. If homelessness is an issue, 28% approved of MAID being applied. So, if you feel that you're not making enough, if you feel that you just can't actually go get yourself a job to go and pay for and get actual housing, just come tell us. It's okay. We'll take care of you.
Go tell Daddy Government, and Daddy Government will take care of you.
Don't have a good reason to end your life? Then 20% of the respondents think that you should be able to apply for MAID. What? You don't have a good reason? It don't matter. Just go
It
apply
doesn't
for it.
matter.
It's okay.
We need more meat for those upcycled citizens in our lovely pie chart thing there. Bill Gates can build off of that and make some more genetically grown different types of meat from people. We need more of that in our world, don't you know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we need whole storehouses full. So it's fine. It's fine. We'll just make you Soylent Green, and it'll be great.
Let's see. And 20% of the respondents were fine with MAID being handed out to anybody for any reason. For no reason at all. Doesn't matter. You just don't want to do any of it any longer. You just like, my parents brought me into this world improperly. They removed me. Daniel Kuhlman, co-producer of the film MAID in Canada, told the Post Millennial that the euthanasia program has become a source of embarrassment and shame for Canada.
No kidding.
Really? You don't think? If other countries are going to fight to prohibit death, about Canada is going to allow for it to be... okay, let me start over. If other countries are going to fight to prohibit death, but Canada is going to allow for it and broaden it, we're going to be a tourist destination for death. I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, think about this too, by the way. Canada and libtards in the United States want to get rid of the death penalty for people that are like mass murderers and crazy people like that, and evil, insane people like that, they think that death should not be a penalty for those kinds of crimes. But hey, we'll give out maid to homeless people because, well, you just don't have a house right now. So great, we'll just throw you into the chamber. Like it's just that's the society that they are building. That they want.
What that's saying though is we're going to actually be a tourist destination for it. So it's like there's going to be people that are going to be like, I just don't want to be there. I don't want to do it. I don't want, this, that, and the other. I just don't want. And I can actually get myself to go across the Canadian border the second I get over there. Just be like, I'm going to turn myself into this maid program because, I just feel that you should actually remove me.
I actually can envision that as being like a speech that Trudeau gives about how he's so proud of the fact that they have the maid program and that people travel from the United States across the border and they're just so desperate to become Soylent Green. He's going to make a speech. He's going to make it out to be the best thing in the world. I can see that now. That's not even kidding. That's how psychotic, evil this is. Like I could see that.
Well, if finishing the quote here, it says, we're already announcing that at federal government level that this could be a tourist destination for death. It's in the language of the government's website.
So they're already
the language of the government. They already have something out there that's actually showing. All he has to do is just read the website.
Unbelievable, but it is believable in a way. Every time almost the whole thing of this article, by the way, if I could share this, and it's a bit staticky, but this was from, and of course the reason why is because they try to blur it because this is like some sort of archived thing from a interview of Margaret Sanger from like the 50s or something.
Hello to Helen back. Good to see you, dear.
This was from
listen at one half.
But this is her. This is exactly what she sounds like, right? Where it's like, oh, well, if if you're homeless, or if you're, if you just feel disenfranchised, or if a child was to be homeless or disenfranchised or whatever, then they shouldn't be brought into the world. He's asking her, do you believe in sin? And she says that's the only sin. Like, just listen. It sounds exactly like what they do, because abortion is eugenics. Abortion is depopulation. That's what this is all about.
Believe in sin? When I say believe, I don't mean believe in committing sin. Do you believe there is such a thing as sin?
Well, I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world.
Did you hear that?
The biggest sin is
into the
bringing
world.
children.
I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically, delinquents, prisoners, all sorts of things, just marked when they're born. That, to me, is the greatest sin that people can commit.
But sin in the ordinary sense that we regard it, do you believe or do you not believe?
Well, what would they be?
Do you believe that infidelity is a sin?
Well, I'm not going to specify what I think is sin. I've stated what I think is the worst sin.
Yes, but then you asked me to say what, and I said what, and
she's a total demoniac woman. I mean, just look at her mannerisms.
You refuse to answer me?
Yes, I don't know about infidelity. It has so many personalities to it, and what a person's own belief is. I couldn't generalize any of those.
In other words, good is evil and evil is good to this insane demon woman, allegedly woman. But yeah, this is the program, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a new thing necessarily. That's what abortion is inherently. That's kind of big pharma. That's I mean it is. I mean, who else do you think fuels all of the maid stuff for Canada? It's big pharma making things to, quote unquote, make people peacefully unalive. Like that is, like. This is the program. It's a depopulation program. This is not this is not just a spur of the moment, crazy psycho, like, wait, why would you do that? Why, like some sort of Matt Walsh moment. Like, why do the liberals do what they do? I don't know. I have no clue. No, really. This is a program. This is a whole program, a depopulation program. It's been around since, the idea of Malthusian physics from Thomas Malthus in England. Some of the very high credentialed individual, I believe he was an Anglican priest, if I'm not mistaken, as well. The whole idea of depopulation and population control, and there's too many people, and there's too much this. That's what this is about. The man with the tiny mustaches government, right? That's what his whole thing was. Look at the Chi-Coms and their one-child policy. That's a Rockefeller thing. The man with the tiny mustaches people all cited the Rockefellers in the Nuremberg trials. They said, we're following them. Like this is the whole, and they funded all of this. There's no socialist revolution that hasn't been funded by the major big banks and, all these, all the people at the top, the Committee of 300 types, the Wall Street people, the big bankers, the, mega corporations. There's nothing that hasn't been, no socialist revolution has not been funded by them. That is a fact. There is no exclusion of that fact. This is the plan. And of course, there have been tests, and there have been they're wanting of this over time. But now we're getting into the big kahuna. This is the coming forward. This is the revelation of the plan. This is them bringing forward everything that they have been plotting and scheming. This is a total pathological movement towards total acceptance of eugenics across the board, to the point that people in Canada almost have the same moral compass now as Margaret Sanger herself. It seems like, if that polling is even correct or accurate.
Right.
That's what's happening here. So make no mistake. Oh, and I see what we're about to bring up here. Don't think that these people aren't involved in this either.
No, right. Exactly. We'll get into, we're going to actually kind of, I know I started off with something like super disturbing for that simple reason that there's several people that, when they come in here, they see that we're just talking, political stuff or whatever, and they don't see the rest of it, whether we actually go into that kind of stuff. So I put that at the beginning for the reason to kind of change it up a little bit, so that way that hard-hitting stuff that I usually throw at the middle or the end was actually at the beginning, so that people actually see we do hit on some of the hard-hitting things and actually, come really close to crossing the line, as close as we possibly can without actually crossing it. So, we do like to do that as much as we possibly can. Reason that we like to do that is because it's necessary. If nobody ever talks about it, is this going to continue to thrive? So,
also just to emphasize, just to leave it off with a little bang there.
Fuck you and your New World Order.
And and all of that.
Yeah, sure. There you go. Perfect. So, you look at that tagline at the top. So it says DeSantis, Trump's gag order, a U-Haul, and more. So, those three topics, DeSantis, Trump, and the U-Haul, we are definitely going to hit on. Just saying. So, let's start off with DeSantis here. Here you go. DeSantis signs bill allowing him to run for president without resigning. House lawmakers, include the bill sponsor, thought he would be able to run without the new language, but wanted to clarify it was allowed. So, he made sure this is signed today. This is signed today, just before he went ahead and he actually held his little commencement speech with Elon Musk, which was interesting in itself, because we'll go into that. We'll actually hit on that.
I have
as well.
so many things to say about it.
I'm sure you do. So quickly kind of skip through this one real quick. It's just another incremental step to the bid of the White House. Governor Ron DeSantis on Wednesday
Incremental.
signed a bill clarifying that Florida elected officials
I'll
can
say.
remain in
It's an
office while
understatement.
running for president. Perfect. That's the best way to do it. Let's go sign something that says I can actually go run for president and I can keep my position in office. That way, if something doesn't work out correctly for me, I still have my position here as governor. I mean, it's smart, I guess, on his side.
I
Hopefully
want to
that
know
doesn't
how
bite him in
many
the
in
ass
the
in the long run.
Tallahassee legislature actually signed that and put that through. That's what I want to know.
Right.
I want to know
Well,
what percentage.
let's see what this actually says. See if there's more information here. It says he did so just hours after officially filing paperwork to join the 2024 presidential race, and about 2 hours ahead of the expected announcement of his presidential run on Twitter with Elon Musk. The bill, SB 7050, make a number of sweeping election changes. One clause that much watch exemption of the states resign to run law for presidential or vice presidential candidates, which lawmakers had hinted at last year with DeSantis' political ambitions in mind. House Speaker Paul Renner said in November that legislatures were looking at possibly changing the law, noting that it was an honor for him or for someone from Florida to even consider running for president. Some legislators included Senator Travis Hudson, Republican out of Elkton, who sponsored the bill, said that the new language wasn't necessary, but was changed to remove any doubt. Hudson said that the interpretation of the earlier law was that candidates could run as long as they weren't also trying to be reelected. DeSantis is term limited. So, being that he's limited, he wouldn't be able to actually run for governor again. Putting the literature in the way it is, he would actually be able to run for president. And as soon as that he would take that position in office, which would be 2024 anyway, or after 2024 elections, he would be no longer eligible to be governor anyway. He's already run a couple times. Kind of soon maybe, but at the same time, interesting in itself to actually hear that this is actually coming through. So DeSantis was inaugurated for his second 4-year term as governor in January. But this isn't the first time lawmakers have paved the way for candidate they like. In 2007, lawmakers tweaked the law as then Governor Charlie Crist was being considered as running mate for John McCain's presidential bid. The elections bill also cracks down on voter registration groups, amping up the maximum fines group could face for violating laws and shortening their window to turn in applications. Democrats opposing the bill said it unfairly penalizes groups that register a large number of Black and Hispanic voters. Shortly after DeSantis signed the law, the League of Women Voters in Florida sued in federal court to block some of the bill's provisions targeting third-party voter registration organizations, claiming they violate the First Amendment. The lawsuit names Attorney General Ashley Moody and Secretary of State Cord Byrd as defendants. Senate Bill 7050 is yet another assault on democracy, an attempt to muzzle Floridians. Cecil Schoon, president of the League of Women Voters of Florida, said in a statement, Florida seems intent in making the act of voting nerve-wracking. A coalition of groups, including the Florida NAACP and Florida Alliance for Retired Americans, who filed a separate lawsuit against the bill Wednesday evening, seeking to knock down its provisions, including restrictions on mail-in ballot requests. The governor's office did not immediately return a request for comment.
Well, that's that. That is, yeah. I don't even know necessarily what to think of this. This has been, I don't know, how long this has been in Florida law, albeit
it's said that it was something that they wrote that they didn't necessarily need to, because if they
right, but
used
they just wanted to make sure that
literature
their
that
rhino
wasn't
buddy
necessary.
could run right without interference, of course. I mean, it just makes me think about how much corruption must actually be within Tallahassee itself for this to actually go through. And albeit, as they said, it's like, well, we believe the language is enough there, but well, then why did you have to rewrite it just to clarify it, just for special?
Why did you need to clarify it for this particular instance?
Just for him, right? Like, why
Just
couldn't
for
why
him.
wouldn't this be for whatever, right? Like,
because he's a Floridian, and we're excited that he's actually possibly even running for president.
So you create a bill for someone who hasn't even announced for president yet. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, the corruption runs deep. They all know what's going on behind the scenes, but they don't want to publicly say anything. And then as soon as the time comes, then they all put everything out. They all do everything. They all do it all simultaneously. Well, conspiracy is just some crazy wacko thing. No. This is how the world runs, ladies and gentlemen. Right. This is how they do things. They all meet behind closed doors. They all agree. This is what we're going to do. And then they do it. That's textbook conspiracy, and that's exactly what you just saw right here in front of you. This is how this works. Several people get to it. Some of them might not agree, some of them might not, some of them whatever. They debate behind closed doors. They talk behind closed doors, and then they come out and they all agree. We're all going to do this, and we're all going to act this way, and we're all going to say this because somebody's going to pay us money. Somebody's going to do this. We're going to get this influence. We're going to get this paycheck. Whatever. This is how this works. This is how this operates.
Great Liquors sitting over on the Rumble side says, "Hey Frog, hey Shirts, good to see you, Shirts. He's been missing you. I think everybody's pretty much been missing you." TR also says, "Hey Frog, been watching over here on the Rumble. Just now able to chat. Awesome. Glad you're there. Thanks guys for being there. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button for me. That'd be great." So, DeSantis. I know this is CNN, but I don't just pick from one side or the other. I pick from both and actually, analyze everything, right? So, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis launches 2024 presidential bid on Twitter with Elon Musk. Now, I listened to the thing earlier today, not live, but after it was done and over with, a bunch of us were actually sitting in Discord and actually played it and listened to it. Very interesting speech that was given for sure. This does have several quotes in it when it comes down to it, which is the reason that I actually picked the particular article. So after technical glitches that started by 25 minutes, the technical glitches, seriously, the 25 minutes is they were swamped and inundated by so many people because they ran it off at Elon's page. There's so many people that tried jumping in on it to actually listen to it live. They crashed. They crashed Twitter.
It's so stupid. It's so idiotic. I mean, for the love of God.
They crashed the platform, though. That's the thing. Is just like, wow, you get that many people and they just went and crashed it, So
I am right. Like,
no.
what? What's happening? Like, I don't like. We need a replay of this too. By the way, like I don't know what's happened with my like. You gave me something of a link to this, but for whatever reason, the audio is not. It's freaking audio.
Maybe it's your computer because the audio worked just fine for me. I don't know I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, I can try resending the link somewhere else, or if you actually hit up the server and go into the Frog Pond, there's a couple links that were thrown by one by Moose, I believe, and one by Nerd. Moose? They're both the same links. Yeah, they're both the same links, and you can actually grab one of those and actually try it again later. Maybe you just got too much going on for your computer to actually handle. I don't know. Let's see. Let's continue here. So it says, on Wednesday, announced Twitter's audio platform was entering a Republican presidential primary, setting up a clash with the current GOP frontrunner, former President Donald Trump. Quote, "I am running for president of the United States to lead the great American comeback." He said during the event with Twitter owner Elon Musk and tech investor David Sachs. But we know our country is going in the wrong direction. We see it with our own eyes and we feel it in our bones. With those remarks, DeSantis, who won re-election in a resounding fashion last fall and captured the attention of party longing to turn the page from recent defeats, opened up a new chapter in the campaign to take on President Joe Biden in 2024. DeSantis stepped into the Republican primary later than other contenders, but begins his bid with more campaign cash and support in the polls than anyone except for Trump. DeSantis, who is opening an address
which means he's the fake opposition candidate, right? Like that's what exactly what that means.
Beautiful was she coined it is DeSantis is the guy that you get when you ask for Trump on Wish or something or other. Because he pretty much sounded like he was pretty much going right along with a Trump. It was like he was Trump all over again. He didn't really sound like he was that much different than what Trump was actually pushing himself.
Except for DeSantis is fake. Like, I mean, the whole idea of him even doing it with Elon Musk on Twitter, it's like this whole, and then he gets all of the money from the rhinos.
Which is the joke. If you put in that you wanted Trump and Wish, you get DeSantis.
Right. Like, I mean, I maybe I should wait for my ranting of this before after you get done reading this. But there's so many things.
There's quite a bit of this article, so we could be here for a bit anyway. So you decide that you want to jump in, you just do it. It's fine. But we know the country is going to be in the wrong direction. We see it with our own eyes and we feel it in our bones. But those remarks, DeSantis, who won re-election in resounding fashion last fall, was captured the attention of party longing to turn the page on recent defeats. Opened up with a new chapter in the campaign to take on President Joe Biden in 2024, DeSantis stepped in the Republican primary later in the contenders, but begins the bid for the campaign to cash to support the polls than anyone except Trump. DeSantis, in the opening address to listeners, painted a dark picture of a country he said is going in a wrong direction under Biden and urged Republicans to get behind him. Quote, "My pledge to you is this. If you nominate me, you can set your clock to January 20th, 2025, a high noon, because on the west side of the U.S. Capitol, I will be taking the oath of office as the 47th president of the United States. No excuses. I will get the job done." The Florida governor, who got the decisive boost from Trump during the 2018 primary, did not directly criticize Trump except for an implied jab that has become a staple of his pre-campaign rhetoric. "There's no substitute for victory," said the governor, who filed for Federal Election Commission earlier Wednesday. "We must end the culture of losing that has infected the Republican Party in recent years." During the question and answers,
fact check bullshit, because Trump has won many more elections. I mean, DeSantis has actually endorsed people, and everybody that he's endorsed has lost. And we've even seen that recently, like in the Kentucky, there was a Kentucky primary for governor. DeSantis endorsed somebody. The DeSantis endorsed, he lost. Like instantly. Like if you want a microcosm. His position of governor has any amount of relevance in the national politics.
Don't take it that it's CNN that's saying this. These are actual, in quotes, what this guy's supposed to say.
Exactly, right. This is what he's saying.
Right.
Like he believes that as though the governorship of Florida is some sort of a microcosm for the entire nation. That's bullcrap. Total bullcrap. What the freaking, are you kidding me? But again, this is what the establishment has pumped up into his head. This guy has been involved with the deep state, with the establishment from day one. I've been listening to several different people go over a lot of his past, and it is unbelievable He's involved in several secret societies. He's well, actually, no. He's involved in. Is it 3 that I know of? There's like it was one. It was St. Elmo's, the Knights of Malta, and a couple of others. And these are all like CIA infested crap holes. He is a JAG officer. He went to Gitmo. That's very high level stuff. I mean, he's been involved with these people from day one. And of course, yeah, sure, he's like, put off this sort of populist vibe, of which even I sort of fell for to an extent. But I really do think that this has been a planned out thing. But I don't know if I want to go into all of that just yet. I guess. Well, what the heck? I'm already talking about it. The whole thing. This is the paid opposition, ladies and gentlemen. This is the fake opposition. This is the New World Order, NWO, WEF people putting up their fake opposition to you, being like, oh yeah, see, this is your candidate. This is your dude. This is Elon Musk too. Like, it's so in your face. It's insane. Like, they get Elon Musk, the biggest. I mean, if you all didn't notice that Elon Musk was a fraud and that he was lying to you the entire time about free speech on Twitter, when he literally appoints a WEF stooge, one of the chief people within the WEF, as the head over Twitter, and then he's just like, oh, everything's fine. And then there's these people that are like, I have full confidence that Elon Musk will do this and Elon Musk will do whatever. And he's like, screw you. Like, no, he's not doing that. His whole history is with the deep state in our country, is with the Chi-Coms. He literally has not taken down. Is there a picture of this? Pull up the picture of his avatar. He has yet to pull this avatar picture down. I commented on this in November. I've commented on this before. He has literally, this is an esoteric message to all of you from the elite. This is what they do. He has a picture of his avatar. He's in this garb. The garb is called, this costume is from Halloween. It's called the Devil's Champion. It has upside down crosses all over it and has the Baphomet in the center with an upside down cross on the Baphomet's forehead. This is total symbolic. It's all symbolism. He's telling you that he's marked for the devil, and he's marked for Satan, and that he's marked for the evil. And he's telling you that he's your champion for free speech when his avatar is being the champion for the devil, for the bad guy. He's literally telling you. But yet everybody just falls in line. Now the establishment hack rhino freak who has all the money in the world, from all of these people, from Paul Ryan to Kevin McCarthy to all the other rhino establishment people, to all of these people on Wall Street that have dumped money at him, to all these other different people. Now, a lot of these people are actually pulling their money because they see how bad he's doing. But there are lots of people that are pushing him. And it's insane. But now you've got Elon Musk promoting DeSantis.
I gotta cut you off real quick. What's up, Go Hagen? What's up, Daisy Girl? Go Hagen says Trump's liabilities: 1, legal issues. Yeah, those made up ones, right? 2, a huge portion of the country hates him. Yep, sure they do, and will vote just to vote against him. Sure they will. Just like they did last time, right? Number 3, he got nothing done the first time. Yep. Okay. Sure. You want me to actually throw you the file that actually shows everything that he actually did get done?
I mean, unless this is sarcasm, you have fallen for the ploy of the WEF people trying to get you to turn against the only biggest populist candidate that's done the most against the globalist elite people that have been wrecking this country, and has actually called them out by name. And went to their own lair at Davos and actually called them out. I mean, you have, unless this is sarcasm, you have bought into the rhino establishment bullcrap lie. And I'm not afraid to say this anymore. I know people are like, oh, let the debate happen. Oh, I like DeSantis. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is no. DeSantis has aligned himself with all of these big baddies on the rhino side of things, who are total deep state people, and they're total globalists, and they don't give a crap. And these people have been dumping money in his direction forever. He has been believing their bull crap about, like, oh, Trump's going to get indicted, and Trump could run from prison and he would still win. That's how much support he has.
I mean, and as far as
like,
that
this
goes,
is
legal
the
issues, legal issues go, I have the Durham report sitting right here that I've been reading over on Locals. I usually do that in a couple hours just before I go live here. Isn't that something? Part 2 is just put up today. Oh, yeah. Yep.
I mean, Mike, I love you, honey. But listen, excuse me. I shouldn't say that. I get caught up saying that because I'm always talking to some like dunce woman for some whatever reason. Not that women are dunce, but there are dunce women that are like libtard people. Mike, I love you, brother. Listen. He says, well, as far as I can see, he did a bunch of signings and statements, but we're undone on day one. Kind of referring to Trump.
There's more coming too. We'll get there. That's the next article.
I mean,
don't worry about it.
Trump is the president of the United States. He's the executive.
Yeah.
Those were executive orders. Of course, executive orders can be undone.
Like I said,
That's
there's
the law.
more to come.
He's not the legislature.
This is gag
but what
orders
he did
next.
do was fantastic.
We'll get there.
He doesn't do everything.
Let's
I don't
stay with
expect Trump to
DeSantis
do
before
everything.
we get too much into Trump, because we're going to get into Trump. We really, really will. We don't want to, tarnish everything that DeSantis is supposedly done.
I don't care. I really think that all of this crap from him is just a total ploy himself. I mean,
I want to keep it.
We want to talk about things that, like, Trump signed in and then is going to be reversed.
I want to keep it about DeSantis at this point.
A lot of those things with DeSantis can also be undone, but also the other things that he and the legislature in Florida has been doing, as far as elections are concerned, is atrocious. And I posted this on my Getter. If anybody goes over there to listen to some of the things on my Getter, and I think I referenced it on my Twitter as well. But yeah, the stuff that has been going on with DeSantis, I have been doing a lot of looking into it, and I've been looking at a lot of different things. It is not what it has been made out to be. Albeit, it's not to say that there hasn't been anything done, but I don't believe that it's been done for the right reasons, and I don't believe.
I think you got Clinton and Trump mixed up there, Mike. Just saying. I think you got that mixed up a little bit. I think that's Clinton that you're actually thinking about. Anyway, let's kick this article up a little bit because there's quite a bit to go through here. So during the question and answer segment, DeSantis again passed on the chance to directly attack Trump. Conservative commentator Steve Deese began a question by listing many of the former president's perceived shortcomings, then asked how DeSantis would ensure his agenda becomes reality. Even my worst critics in Florida will acknowledge when I tell people I'm going to do something, I don't make promises or say I'm going to do something lightly. DeSantis' decision to effectively share a stage with Musk, who purchased Twitter last year and leads the rabid following of largely right-leaning fans, was an unusual choice for presidential aspirant. It spoke to his desire to win over right-wing activists that are increasingly prevalent on the site. To that end, DeSantis criticized the NAACP, the country's permanent civil rights organization, as a left-wing outfit, because it's not, explained away book ban accusations as curation that is not consistent with state standards, and shrugged off the technical hurdles that befuddled the first half of the virtual event. In one new development, DeSantis came out against congressional action to limit cryptocurrency, a favorite topic of the man hosting the chat. You have every right to do Bitcoin, DeSantis said, to which Musk plugged Dogecoin, the meme alternative cryptocurrency that
his
the
pump
billionaire
and dump
helped to
scam
popularize.
that he pumped up Dogecoin and then just dropped it in a
the one
month
that
or
he
something
dropped
like
it was freaking.
I mean, this is all this stuff is to him. This is all people wake the freaking crap up. These people are the fake propped up opposition. Elon Musk is deep embedded into the deep state. I mean, he provides the intelligence agencies, and he provides and helps with NASA. He helps with all of these other military industrial complex, operations. He was doing the stuff with Ukraine. His Starlink was the thing that was helping NATO people and stuff, and the Ukrainians in Ukraine.
Yep.
It's him. Like this is all, but oh no, he took it away. See, because he saw this, or he did this because he saw. Like, I mean, now he's funding and now he's endorsing this guy, like, and all the other things with Musk. I mean, I could go on and on with Musk, just Musk alone. Like, I mean, just to the level. And again, look at Twitter. Oh, we're for all this stuff, and now he's putting forward a WEF shill that believed in mandating everybody to put diapers on their face for couth all day, and that you should be mandatory stabbied all day, and that you should have all this. Like, she was for shutting down speech on Twitter, literally, for people who didn't like any of those things. Oh, now she's the head of it all? Oh, but Elon is totally on your side. He's totally cool. I mean, I could go on and on about this. And then to see this individual then get together with the other opposition dude that's being set up by all of the establishment on the right-hand side in the United States. They're giving this guy money. They have been pumping his coffers full of money since, like, I don't know, like 4 months ago or more to run for president. They've been telling him, they've been having meetings with him. They've been having, and this is on the record, they've been having meetings with him. They've been having luncheons. They've been having all this stuff. You've got Wall Street people. You've got all these other, like Paul Ryan's come down. There's been a parade of Paul Ryan and McCarthy and like 4 other different people of the Rhino establishments. I'm pretty sure. No, it wasn't Lindsey Graham. Who was it? Who was it in South Carolina? Somebody in South Carolina, I think. Forget the name now. Like, I mean, lots of people have been trying to get DeSantis to do this. Now he's finally doing it, but he's actually even losing some support from a lot of the people that he's been getting money from Wall Street because they see how bad it is. And he's actually losing money from them. But I mean, hey, you make a deal with the devil, you pay the price. I mean, but that's who this is who DeSantis is aligning himself with, all of these slimy, disgusting, rhino hack, freakazoid politicians, freaking Mitch McConnell. Like, we could go down the list of just different people that he's been meeting with.
So then, go ahead and come back here. He says, so DeSantis runs and Trumpers sit out. I feel that will be canceled out by the lack of visceral hate voters also sitting it out. If DeSantis explains his record in Florida and why he did the things he did, I feel he'll win in a landslide. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I really don't. I've always said that. I don't trust. Elon,
everything that he's done is for the governorship.
Yeah. That I agree
Everything
with
he's
you.
done is just for governor. What's the presidency? What's a national plan? What's his national economic plan? What's his national plan to bring jobs back? What's his national anything? He has no.
We don't know.
Nothing.
We don't know any of that yet. We need to wait for him to actually come back and
he hasn't even talked about that.
Speak more.
Where's
about
all of his
these
speeches
things.
about
He
all
only
Trump could ever
came
talk
out
about?
to pretty much say he was run for president. They threw him a couple questions or whatever, and he answered them with some, kind of half-assed answers. So if you get the chance later to go listen to it, definitely go listen to it.
I mean, all Trump could ever talk about was trying to bring jobs back to the United States and fix the economy. He's even talked about that since the freaking 80s.
Right.
Like, you want a Trump economic plan? Like, you just look at like some videos from the 80s of where he's been talking about this forever.
I mean, you could go watch Oprah, and you could actually,
I mean, literally, like Oprah literally asked him, "Are you going to run for president? This sounds like an economic plan." I mean, literally, like he has all of this.
Yeah.
DeSantis has nothing.
Just go watch
DeSantis
Oprah.
has no experience.
I remember
But yet
sitting in the living room with my mom watching Oprah when he actually did that. And my mother was like, "I hate that guy." She hated him back then because he was a misogynist prick that would, that slept with so many women, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. So, whatever. It is what it is. Let's continue here. It says, DeSantis also said reining in federal bureaucracies would be key tenet to his platform going forward. We'll go into a little bit more as the campaign goes on, but buckle up. When I get there is because the status quo is not acceptable. Then, in his first post-announcement televised interview, he told Fox News, fuck Fox News, he would fire the FBI director, Christopher Wray, on the first day of his administration. Who fucking wouldn't? If
Yeah,
you're not
Trump's
going to
already said
fire
that too.
Christopher
Like,
Wray in the
what's so
first
unique?
place, you don't deserve to be president.
Yeah,
Just
Trump's already
saying.
said he's cleaning house. He's done. Like, there's no
Right.
more. Like the first time around, there was some things where it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? This is stupid. He's already said these things. He's already said he's going to clean house. He's already said he's going to. I mean, he's already put up a speech where he says we're going to eviscerate.
And that's pretty
deep
much
state.
why, you know, where you
There'll be
get
nothing left.
really kind of sounds like he's just, you know, spitting out Trump points as he's actually
literally
going through this. Right.
I mean, that's how he won the governorship.
Right.
He literally ran on being Trump or a mini Trump for Florida. Now he's saying, oh, everything he's been doing is just independent of Trump. Ron DeSantis wouldn't have even made it as the governor in the first place without Donald Trump. Like, I mean, it's just so insane. And now he just acts like, oh, well, now we can all run without Trump. We can have this populist movement without Donald Trump. Oh, you mean the person that literally did it that's still running for president? Oh, but let's just oust him. You know, like it's just unbelievable. And then like all the culture war stuff, I see that's referenced in the chat there with DeSantis. I mean, that's culture war stuff.
Right.
I mean, literally, that's state level stuff. Like the president can't sign some of the things and do some of the things that you can at a state level. That's already state level stuff. What's he going to do nationally? How's he going to respond to it nationally? What legislation for the federal level would he push for different things? Can he push those different things at the federal level? Or is that a state unique issue? I mean, this is the thing. Like, just because you're good in a governor position job doesn't mean that you're automatically aligned and ready for the presidency just because of that. And you can just look at the electoral map in and of itself. I mean, a lot of people don't even know who DeSantis is, except for if you're paying attention to politics. But everybody knows who Trump is. All right? Like, so there's just name recognition itself, just talking about that. So, like, I mean, but the stuff about, like, the culture war stuff, like, a lot of that is surface level stuff, because the stuff that's been happening.
Bill Higgins says, no, it's federal now.
Wait, what's federal?
Whatever you were actually just saying, my brain didn't keep up with it to try correcting.
I mean, nothing I said was specific. I was just like talking in generals,
right.
You know. But I mean, the things that he's been doing on the surface, the things that are underneath the surface, as far as like how elections are run in Florida, is just, it's terrible. The illegal immigration that happens. I mean, I know he's been deporting some people to Martha's Vineyard and all that, making a scene out of it. And that was funny and that was whatever. But I mean, that's just trafficking them throughout the United States. Like, I mean, you know, like where, like Carrie Lake for Arizona, she was talking about just doing direct deportations right there from Arizona back to wherever they were from. Like, she was talking about trying to make that happen. DeSantis never tried to talk about that. He was just making a show. Like, I mean, literally, I mean, even Carrie Lake at the time called him on it. Like, she said, like, I don't want to make a show. I want to actually solve this problem. And not to say that it's not funny, and not to say that, you know, some of the things he has been saying is good, but like, you know, I don't want to make a show of it.
Go Higgins says most of this shit is coming from federal funding, grants, etc., to push the culture bullshit.
Okay, so how is he going to react to that from a federal level, from a federal standpoint? I mean, he can do whatever he needs to do at a state level. What's his plan for the federal? Is he going to defund the Department of Education? Has he said that? Is he going to cut off funding from them? Is he going to, you know, is there some sort of a plan from the executive perspective to possibly cut back funding from an executive point of view, or as, you know, the executive, allotment, and then, like, you know, divvying that out? Like, is he going to say, well, no, actually, we're going to cut this funding and move it over to here or whatever? Does he have a plan for that? Does he have a plan to push for legislation from the Republican side that would initiate some of this? Has he talked about any of that? I mean, there's no platform. There's nothing. He's not talking about, there's nothing that he's done that is a federal issue, other than to just simply say, well, we don't want this at a federal level. Well, yeah, nobody does. And Trump has talked about defunding the Department of Education. So, like, I mean, yeah, so I mean, But
let's kick this article through, because there's quite a bit to go through. There's a lot of comments. So I mean, and we're still back at. I would not keep Christopher Wray as a director. I think the DOJ, FBI have lost their way. I think they've been weaponized against Americans who think like me and you and I think that they become very partisan. Now you have to remember he's talking to Elon Musk, as well as several others that are actually asking questions.
Again, Elon Musk, the chief paid opposition, the cheap fake opposition person that the WEF is putting up and being like, oh, see, he's fake. He hates the WEF. He doesn't like this. He's just for literally every policy that we are. But he thinks that, like the child grooming thing is a little weird. So, hey, you should love him. Like, I mean, this is what we're reduced to, is just the simple, and not to say that it doesn't have an effect, but like there is more, the tentacles go deeper. The things are much more broad than just simply like, well, we don't like, this thing or whatever for like, quote unquote, like child manipulation in schools and whatever. So we're going to pass a law for this, whatever. Okay, great, fine, nice. Where's this coming from, though? Has he addressed where this is coming from? Has he talked about where this is coming from? No. Musk hasn't either. Musk just posts a video or posts a picture of like, George Washington crossing the Delaware with some like old-fashioned revolver that he just spent like $10,000 pocket change for, and just set it up there fake, and then takes a picture of it and goes like, oh yeah, like I love this stuff, I believe in this stuff. Bullcrap. Where were you when all this stuff was, where all this stuff mattered? Oh, you were with the WEF. Like, I mean, this is so fake. And now he is promoting and putting up the fake opposition candidate for the primary, Ron DeSantis. Like, it's so in your face. Like, if you can't see this yet, like, I'll just pray for you. Like, some of you people, I mean, look, like Massey, Thomas Massey is there in this. He has endorsed DeSantis. Massey is a great congressman. And look at this. And he just buys right into this. He's like, oh yeah, I have a Tesla. Tesla stuff is pushing the electric car agenda, aka the agenda
have a mod with me today or what? I have to keep on accepting Gohagen stuff.
No. Well, like, but DeSantis, excuse me. Elon is the progenitor of the whole electric car industry to get you off of gasoline. But that's just the push you over a cliff, because there's no infrastructure. Elon Musk is building cars for no infrastructure. He's playing his part with these people constantly. Now he's promoting the opposition candidate that they all want to promote, which is DeSantis. I mean, freaking George Soros has talked about this. He wants DeSantis to run. He wants DeSantis. He made a whole speech. He said he wants DeSantis to run. He wants DeSantis to be there because, he knows that DeSantis and Trump will go head to head, and then that will fracture the vote, and it'll, it'll make the right side of the aisle go nuts. He wants this. He wants this, albeit it's not the way that he thinks, right? But he wants DeSantis to run. He wants him in the game because he thinks that it can be as a manipulation tactic. But DeSantis is so full of himself, I guess. I mean, he literally, what do you mean, I guess? He is. Like, he sits there and talks and bashes Trump after he relied upon Trump for everything. And then when DeSantis literally says, like, well, I don't know what it's like to pay hush money to a pornography star, but, I'm just going to stay out of it. When Trump was threatened to be extradited to New York State for bullcrap, for those bullcrap charges from the Stormy Daniels nonsense of being some sort of like election in-kind contribution to his campaign from a settlement with Stormy Daniels. And he didn't even have the gall and he didn't even have the guts to stand up and say, absolutely not. He just said, I'm just going to stay out of it. Oh, because he's Trump and you're running against him. I mean, the level of low that DeSantis has turned into already.
Real quick here. So Space Power Monkey sitting over on the Rumble side. What is up? Good to see you, brother. Says, okay, but why support Don the Con after fleecing $175 million for securities and then used to undermine populists and signed off on Koolfrogg?
Securities?
election.
Signed off on
We're on
175.
YouTube. There's certain things that you just have to read the lines in between.
Well, let me pull it up then.
Sorry. Real quick here. So then I'm going to try catching these next couple paragraphs. And it says, must build the event as an unscripted decision with DeSantis. However, the questions came from a rotating cast of allies, including Jay Bhattacharya, a Stanford professor, advised DeSantis on Koolfrogg. Robert Thomas Massey, a Kentucky Republican, endorsed the governor. Chris Rufo, the conservative commentator who first led the charge against CRT. Dana Loach, the former spokesperson of the National Rifle Association. Many of the guests invited to talk spent a chunk of their time praising Musk, seeming to ignore DeSantis during that what was supposed to be his moment in the spotlight. I'm one of your biggest fans, Massey said to Musk. I'm the first congressman to have a Tesla. I'm on Starlink. Good for you, Massey. Glad that you can actually go and, stick your head up his butt.
I mean, it's unbelievable that he falls for, like, I just can't even, but this is the lie, right? It's like, oh, he's the libertarian. Oh, he's the, like, free speech dude. Oh, well, he's the this. Oh, well, he's the that. Oh, well, he's the alternative. No, he's actually not.
I know, Space Power Monkey. That's why you asked over on Rumble.
Oh, well, I see what he was saying on Rumble. I mean, Trump is not the chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. That was Ronna McDaniel who said that if you pay all this money to the RNC, we're going to do this, and then took it and then ran away with it. That was her. That wasn't Donald Trump's campaign specifically for president, because, I mean, again, like, it was already, like, everything was already counted. So now there was, like, a legal effort afoot. And so that was through, from my understanding, was mostly through, absolute majority of it was through the RNC, to the point that you had lawyers that were, like, for example, like this Jenna Ellis woman that was a lawyer for Donald Trump, literally left the RNC and says that I don't want to be in the Republican side of the aisle because of did I say something?
No, I was just sitting there looking over at Space Power Monkey stuff that he's putting over on that Rumble side.
Oh, well, but that was I thought I said something. But that was the RNC's thing after the elections was done, and they were, like, having that moment of contest. And
I love the fact that there's people that actually come around here that actually are calling them how they feel, and actually calling them, Don the Con, not liking Trump for what he is. You don't have to. Nobody ever has to actually go along with somebody else's thoughts or opinions. You get to have your own. And that's the best part about all this, is you get to actually do that and actually spit your own thoughts and opinions. And that's why we all love you so much for actually being here. Make sure you hit that like button wherever you're at. Smash it, because, why not? Much of the conversation also centered on Twitter itself and the ability to supplant a so-called legacy media just minutes after the social media platform failed to handle the most important moment in DeSantis' career. We are absolutely committed to freedom of speech and a level playing field in just a vigorous debate, Musk said. The First Amendment is irrelevant if all the media and the governments are operating in lockstep.
Which is why you get the WEF woman to run your
and that's
whole
Musk.
It's just
that's Musk saying that shit, right? Exactly. That's why you
can't
get
even. I just like
that
at
real
this point,
economic forum back in his shit, right?
I mean,
yeah. Yep. We are absolutely committed to freedom of speech and the level playing field of vigorous debate. I read that one. I'm sorry. While Musk insisted that the technical failure at the top of the planned conversation was, in fact, a show of Twitter's strength, the flub set off a wave of mockery from DeSantis' rivals. Ron DeSantis' botched campaign announcement was another example of why he is just not ready for the job. The stakes are too high, and the fight to save America is too critical to gamble on first-timer who's clearly not ready for prime time. said Caroline Leavitt, the spokeswoman for Make America Great Again, Trump's super PAC. Trump himself on Truth's social site initially restricted himself to a comment on DeSantis' appearance in a campaign launch video. His caller, the former president, observed as a rival, "He's too big." Later, Trump offered an on-time review of the occasion. Wow, the DeSantis Twitter launch is a disaster. His whole campaign will be a disaster. Watch.
I mean,
he said.
literally.
Biden campaign also poked out.
He's already
Biden's campaign. Yeah, right. You know, Trump just come out and he's like, nah. He DeSantis. He really seriously, though he actually put him in the position that he's at, really doesn't really care for the guy. He doesn't want him to actually be anything
this
more
is why
than
Trump
just
was
governor.
calling him DeSanctimonious a while ago, and everybody was like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like, because Trump knew, because Trump has people, and that was the inside sources of what DeSantis was actually trying to do. And I kind of thought, like, you know, Robert Barnes, I was trusting Barnes with this, that his source was like spot on, because he's almost never wrong, but he was, obviously, in this occasion. And Rich Barris even called that out and was like, hey, listen, you know, and if anybody doesn't listen to Rich Barris about politics stuff, you need to, because, oh my God, he is in the know, let me tell you. Holy crap. Like, he's got like everything down, like every statistic, and he'll just sit there and rant about every single one of these things, about the whole electorate and, you know, the different things with DeSantis versus Trump and all the rest of it. Like, he can go on literally, and he has for 2 hours straight. Like, it's pretty sweet. Like, he can break everything down, because he's got it all right there on his fingertips, because he does all this every day. So, like, you know, the whole politic thing, the whole elections thing. But you know, but what was I saying? I just forgot what I was saying. Crap.
He's getting quite a bit of shit done. Trump is what? If there's a better option, love to hear it. He's got a lot more cases coming in. The brown nose is lame as fuck. Okay, thank you, Daisy. Honestly, kind of feels like sabotage, says Go Hagen.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, if you think, well, what's sabotage? I mean, I mean, whatever you're referencing is being sabotaged. If anything is sabotage, it's the Trump cases. Like, that's total, like, it's total BS. Like, all of these things.
It really is.
But this is what DeSantis was told. Trump is going to get these things coming his way. He's going to be, quote unquote, thrown in prison by the lefties. And this is going to be your opportunity to break forward and shine and do whatever. DeSantis is losing poll numbers. He was losing poll numbers from like 27% to 16% before he's even announced. And this is like in a matter of a month. I mean, it's bad. He's lost several major funders. And they're all like Wall Street people too, by the way. Like, it's bad. Like, he almost has no chance and I'll get out at this point. But he thinks he's so spectacular. That's why they call him Ron DeSanctimonious. And if I could find on Twitter, ABC released secret stuff, recordings. Secret recordings. I don't know if they were secret. But they were recordings that people in the public obviously didn't know about, of DeSantis talking about Trump supporters and how he and Trump supporters aren't actually really aligned. And this was back when DeSantis was saying that he was a mini Trump. So, you know, he's just lying to everybody. But, you know, he's just the greatest thing since sliced bread, apparently.
So then let's get going in here. We got a bunch to go through yet here. We're already an hour past. Biden's campaign also poked fun at the messy kickoff, posting fundraiser link on Twitter with a note saying, "This link works," which is funny in itself, I guess. I know Biden himself didn't come up with that. That was somebody else. In his opening remarks, DeSantis took aim at Biden, at once describing him as the leader of an activist left while suggesting the president is too old to lead. That's been something that's been pushed by several people about how he's too old to lead. Even people on his own side, like Hillary Clinton, that we just went through the other day, of her actually saying the same thing of him being too old. Our president, while he lacks vigor, flounders at the face of the nation's challenges, and he takes his cues from the woke mob. DeSantis said the first countless rhetoric assault on the woke ideology, he says, is leading to American decline. Totally is. Musk spoke in stops and starts throughout the event, which ended up running for more than an hour, most often using the stage to celebrate his ownership of Twitter and talk up his place of public square. When Twitter finally got the chat up and running, Sachs flattered DeSantis, telling him, "I think you broke the internet there." DeSantis later echoed that line in a video posted on the site by his campaign. "We announced that on Twitter Spaces earlier tonight, and it broke the internet because so many people were excited about being on the Twitter Space," DeSantis said. In making his case to listeners, DeSantis, who largely stayed on script, even when Musk and the company did not, focus largely on the controversial handling of COVID-19 in Florida. His more recent clash with Disney, which DeSantis has sought to frame the avatar as bogus corporate wokeness. When COVID happened, I had to make a decision about, do you go with the crowd or do you look at the data yourself and cut against the grain? And I choose to do the latter, DeSantis said. My view was I had to look out for the people I represented, prefer protecting other jobs over trying to safeguard our own political hide. But I was very, very lonely in a lot of those decisions. He then praised Musk for his leadership on Twitter and commitment to protecting the freedom to debate.
I'm sure.
The rest of this is pretty much, it goes into Trump stuff or whatever, and it kind of really doesn't have too many quotes from DeSantis. It pretty much just goes into Trump, which, we've talked a lot about Trump, and there's more that we're going to go through with him here. So, here you go. There's the criminal charges. Trump faces criminal charges in March of 2024 in New York City court. Judge officially issues gag order.
Oh, wait. Before we do this, I just found this. This is the recordings that I was telling you about. Crap. Wait, why did it shift? Wait, no, stop. That's not the right one. Why did it do that?
America Pants is here. Says, well, hi, shirts.
Here we go. Here we are. I said, exclusive from 2018 debate prep. 2018. Right. So this is a debate prep session for 2018. Ron DeSantis reveals his thoughts on dealing with Donald Trump. And this is from ABC News exclusive. And this is what is 39 seconds.
Has the NRA donated to me? I don't think the NRA is quite the boogeyman the Democrats think it is. Do we hit them on guns, or just everyone who cares about guns is going to vote for me?
Is there any issue upon which you disagree with President Trump?
Obviously there is, because I voted contrary to him in the Congress. I have to frame it in a way that's not going to piss off all his voters. So what I do is I do what I think is right. I support his agenda in terms of what he's been able to do. If I have a disagreement, I talk to him in private.
I think when you walk up there, if you have a pad, you have to write in all caps at the top of the pad, likable. And just look, I do the same thing because I have the same personality. We're both aggressive.
Has the NRA...
Oops. Anybody hear the word total fraud floating in their head? He literally ran. Shall we pull up the campaign videos from DeSantis during this time where he literally ran and his wife called him a mini Trump, and there's no difference between the two, when he's literally sitting there saying obviously I have to say something in agreement, right? Because I'm going to piss off all of his voters. Again, his voters, meaning Trump's voters, not his, because he doesn't actually have any, because he's admitting, I'm a fraud. I don't actually have voters. Trump does. How do I get them?
Yeah.
Unreal. Right. But right there it is.
Go Higgins says, I feel that Trump runs, he'll lose. Like, I can't see anybody but Trumpers voting for him and
Trumpers
not
are like
enough
the
Trumpers to
absolute
win.
majority of the Republican Party, and they
Right,
are a
exactly.
large portion of the electorate. So, I mean, as far as like just the Trumpers, I mean, that's a lot of freaking people. And that you just look at the polls for that. I mean, you don't even have to look at Chris Barris's, or excuse me, Rich Barris's polls. You just look at some of the other polls. Trump is leading like quadruply. Like he's blowing everybody else out of the park.
He's like, not what I said. That's literally what you just read. Sorry, brother. He's gonna split the vote hard because no way in heck will DeSantis walk into the shadow of Trump. Hopefully, some kind of unity happens. I mean, they've both pretty much written each other off. I really don't see the unity happening between the two.
Oh no, but the thing is that everybody's uniting around Trump and everybody's leaving DeSantis, and the polls definitely show that. Every one of them do. Again, DeSantis is even losing backers. Trump has no Wall Street backers, has no Wall Street money, and he's still beating out everybody. So, like, I don't know what I mean. Like, and then Nikki Haley, you've got all these other wackadoodles. Like, Trump doesn't even have to go to a debate. Like, this is how much support he has. He doesn't even have to go onto a debate stage in the Republican national, in a Republican primary. He doesn't even have to do that. He already has the majority. He can just walk away with it. Like, that's how much of a lead he has. I mean, we're talking like if this was like a basketball game. Trump is like has 180 points and DeSantis has like 3. And Nikki Haley has like -2. Like, I mean, like this is the levels of support that these people have in comparison to Trump. Like, it's just not even comparable.
Daisy Girl's over on that Rumble side says America Shirts has been on fire per what I heard catching up. See, yep, exactly. He's on fire when he actually shows up.
Mike O'Hagan says
Her.
he said that because it's not politically smart for him to piss off the Trumpers. Yeah, because they're not actually his. Like that's the thing. He's admitting he's a fraud. He doesn't actually have DeSantis supporters. He's trying to get the Trumpers. How do I get the Trumpers? Like they're a separate entity, not his supporters. He's not trying to gain supporters. He's trying to gain Trump's people because he's a fraud. Like that's literally what he's saying. And that wasn't supposed to, I guess anyway, that wasn't supposed to be leaked,
Hold on. I gotta pull something up. So let's see what is that under the interesting stuff.
I mean, Mike, I love Mike and I love the other Mike in the Rumble. I do. I really do. I just strongly disagree.
They're all so great. It's so fun to actually
I very much disagree.
The conversation to actually, talk to and against. And that's the fun part. Here you go. Trump administration accomplishments. How many of them would you like? How far should we read into this multiple page document? Unprecedented economic boom. America gained 7 million new jobs, more than 3 times the government experts' projections. Middle class families' incomes nearly $6,000, more than 5 times that gains during the entire previous administration. The unemployment reached 3.5%, the lowest in a half century. Achieved 40 months in a row of more job openings than job hirings. More Americans reported being employed than ever before, nearly 160 million. Job claims hit nearly 50-year low. The number of people claiming unemployment insurance as a share of the population hits its lowest on record. Incomes rose for the single metro area in the United States for the first time in nearly 3 decades. Unemployment rates for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, Native Americans, veterans, individuals with disabilities, and those without high school diplomas all reached record lows. Unemployment for women hit the lowest rate in nearly 70 years, lifted nearly 7 million people off of food stamps. Poverty rates for African Americans and Hispanic Americans reached record lows. Income inequality fell for 2 straight years and by the largest amount in over a decade. The bottom 50% of Americans saw a 40% increase in net worth. Wages rose fastest in low income and blue collar workers at 16% pay increase. African American home ownership increased from 41.7% to 46.4%. Brought jobs and factories and industries back to the USA, created more than 1.2 million manufacturing and construction jobs, put in place policies to bring back supply chains from overseas. Small businesses optimism broke a 35-year-old record of in 2018. The Dow closed above 20,000 for the first time in 2017 and topped 30,000 in 2020. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ have repeatedly notched record highs. Rebuilding and investing in rural America, signing an executive order to modernize the regulatory framework of agricultural biotechnology products, which is bringing innovative new technologies to the market in American farming and agriculture, strengthen America's rural economy, and invest in more than $1.3 billion to the Agricultural Department's Reconnect program to bring high-speed broadband infrastructure to rural America. Isn't that something fucking interesting? Something that was already put in place, but this current administration thinks that they're the ones that are fucking doing it. Achieved to a record-setting economic comeback by rejecting blanket lockdowns. I mean, I can go through the whole goddamn list if you want me to, and I can continue to read the whole fucking thing if that's something that you'd rather me actually do than actually do what I already had planned. How much of this long-ass fucking document would you like me to actually read for you? Explain that to me. What didn't he fucking do for you?
And I mean, like, I can have disagreements with, like,
Koolfrogg.
I mean, like, I mean, Micah Hagan has in the chat here, like, you know, he added 4 trillion in debt. I can disagree with that. I don't have to like literally every singular thing that Trump has ever done. I'm not even saying that.
The funny one is Off Nix is over on the other side. Says, so in other words, Trump did nothing right because that's what media is saying. Exactly, because the media says he did
again,
shit.
the big thing is
That's
like,
exactly
oh
what
well,
it was.
look, it's all reversed now. It's like, yes, because that's the nature of the executive branch. That's why you have to have a stable leader in the executive branch. If you don't have it, then this goes nuts. It's not because Trump didn't do enough. It's because he's absent. That's the nature of it. Like, I mean, that's what it's for. That's the presidency. And now we have skyrocketing inflation. I mean, again, the border wall thing. People make comments about the border wall thing. Oh, it's not complete. It's not complete. Because he was literally blocked every step of the way by all these courts and all the rest of this stuff saying it's illegal. And then everything has to go to the Supreme Court. And everything has to go through this. And everything has to go through that. Oh, no, this is this. Oh, he has to fight this. Oh, he has to fight that. Like, it was jumps and heaps and hurdles just to do this stuff. Like, I mean, he's not Thanos. He just can't snap everything into existence. But you think DeSantis is going to do this when he has the support of all the rhinos who wrote all of the $4 trillion
all that bullshit
legislation?
is gone because the fucking asshole that's currently in the residency of the White House, it changed it all, and now made it to so that way we're all freaking. We're not independent in any way, shape, or form, that we must live off the government, and that the government is going to be there to fucking save us. Fuck the government. Anyway, we got a couple other things to go through here within the next like half hour ish or whatever, because my shtick with Koolfrogg's only lasts a couple hours.
Oh yes,
right. I got other things to go on. So, thank you all for actually joining us. Oh, geez.
We do like the debate.
I wish there was a mod that would actually accept all this stuff that's coming through on the YouTube side. That would be great. Heidi says he really is sanctimonious. I know he has no good, but I had no idea how bad he really was. Seeing the video makes me want to hurl. Effing slime wad, and agree. Daisy Girl shirts and frog are on fire. I wish somebody would actually. Do I have to make somebody else a mod to actually get this to actually work? I mean, I thought I had a couple mods in here with this.
Well, I'm not paying attention to it myself. Maybe I shouldn't.
No, you're okay. You're okay. You got your own thing going on. You got
Mike's comments still being blocked like every time?
Oh yeah, almost
what
every
the
other
freaking crap?
Almost every other comment's being blocked.
He's not even putting in emojis. Like, what is?
No, right, and he's not really even swearing on most of it. I mean, some of it he is. I mean, he's like, there's a couple drops.
There's not even references to like. I don't even.
They've actually taken misspellings of the word fuck and actually changed it to make it actually be something that can actually be flagged. It's really ridiculous. Because if you looked at the banned words that I have on my side, there's like 2 or 3. XXX, XYZ to keep bots out. Like, seriously, that's the only thing that's in there. There's nothing else that's really in there, for words. This is all YouTube's bullshit algorithm kicking all that out.
I mean, Mike, you might have a black SUV outside of your house. Don't look too long. Don't look too hard. They might get suspicious, but hey, like, I'm just saying, like, freaking crap. Every comment. Unreal. But thank you all for the back and forth with that. It does need to happen. These discussions do.
If you're so gracious to actually use it wisely, there you go. Have orange. Flagged under current knowledge. All right, let's hit this article up here real quick, because Trump to face criminal charges March 2024 in New York City court. Judge officially issues gag order. A Manhattan judge is expected to formally issue a gag order on Tuesday that will prevent former President Donald Trump from publicly disclosing information about his criminal indictment related to the alleged hush money payments made by porn star Stormy Daniels, in which he was pleaded not guilty. Justice Juan Merchan of Manhattan State Court will repeatedly place restrictions on Donald Trump relating to the grand jury minutes, witness statements, and prosecutorial materials that will be given to Trump's defense team during the court hearing on Tuesday, during which Trump will be appearing remotely while his lawyers are present in the courtroom, Reuters reports. Prosecutors requested the gag order to be placed on Trump due to his history of attacks in social media and don't want the former Republican president to harass witnesses, according to the outlet. On May 8th, State Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan ordered that anyone with access to evidence in the case cannot copy, disseminate, or disclose the evidence to any third party, including social media, without court approval. The judge said that Trump is only allowed to review limited materials in the presence of the defense counsel, but the defendant shall not be permitted to copy, photograph, transcribe, or otherwise independently possess the evidence, according to Bloomberg. The order also states that any materials and information provided by the people to the defense in accordance to the discovery obligations shall be used solely for the purposes of preparing a defense in the matter. Additionally, Trump is also forbidden from publicly discussing witnesses or evidence in the case. The gag order will largely prevent Donald Trump, from current Republican frontrunner in 2024 presidential election, from defending the allegations made against him. While his opponents are welcome to speak freely on Trump's criminal indictment, prosecutors have stated that they will provide Trump's lawyers with additional documents once the order is in place on Tuesday. In March, Trump is indicted by Manhattan grand jury. The former president pleaded not guilty to 34 charges and denied having any extramarital affair. For whatever reason, they can't keep Trump out of their heads and out of their minds, and this is what they need to continue to do. Create more and more to try getting something to stick. I'll say it again. They took a box of spaghetti, and instead of boiling it first, they just took it and chucked it against the wall to see what would stick. Guess how much of uncooked spaghetti sticks to something? Yep, you're right. 0.
Says the
Just saying. So,
all the audience in unison, right?
They're gonna continue to do bullshit. Is that the tax evasion? No, it's not. It's not, because there was none. That was also a lie.
I know, like all the things with like his real estate. You'd think that like if that was actually a huge big thing, they would have brought it up before. Oh, but see, now he's running, so he's gonna get this. He's gonna get these now. You see, right? Like, I mean, it's just it's totally bogus. I mean, he helped freaking build New York. Like, oh, but like now he's like on tax evasion, whatever. I mean, I have to go into the details with that again. I was just into the whole thing with like Trump v. DeSantis stuff, but I have to go into that whole thing of the whole, as you described it, as we read over, like the whole, thing of like, oh, the tax evasion, oh, the, is that
What's up,
stuff.
Suzanne? Good to see you. What's up, Winnie?
I have to go back through that
you.
and refresh myself here because it is a little later and we have been going along with several other different topics, but I can assure you that is bogus. I have looked at it before. I just need to, but it is bogus.
Before
but this is what they don't want to happen again, by the way, because they want him to not do anything with social media. This right here, they don't want this clip. They don't want someone to be able to make this
video that Ms. Leeds would not be your first choice. You were referring to her physical looks, correct?
I look at her, I hear what she says, whatever. You wouldn't be a choice of mine either.
They don't want that happening again. They most certainly do not want that happening again. They're like, no. We want everything private. You're not allowed to say anything on social media at all. Like, this is not allowed to be posted. You're not allowed to say or do anything. Nobody's allowed to like it's kind of, that's like the first thing that like entered my mind was like, yeah, because they don't want that to go viral from last.
I see Nick's is over on the Rumble side. It's like, Krog, a real list of achievements is a numbered list, not bullet points. Show us the numbers.
I mean, holy crap. I mean, just look at all of the, the numbers of, people aren't even being able to make their car payments nowadays. Like, people are having to forfeit their car payments, the most in American history now. But nothing like that was happening under the Trump administration. In fact, people were making their payments underneath the Trump administration. And even with the Koof crap, there was, not that I agree with everything about this, but if there was ever a time that the government was to refund the people, well, that would be the time sent out. So, and that's a whole other discussion in and of itself. The whole in and outs of that whole thing, which, like I said, I don't agree with every singular thing that was done.
Right.
But my God. Anyways, that's a whole other,
right.
We've already been.
Nobody says that Trump was completely, totally right on everything that he did. 0 people will say that.
I didn't like his underneath of his.
If you're going to compare the two, you're going to compare Trump to Biden. You're going to compare the two. You goddamn right. Biden did not do a damn thing correctly in the last 50, 60 years. Just saying.
And just another point,
the worst person on the face of the planet.
For Trump to Trump, I don't like the thing with underneath of Trump's administration, he sent over those Tomahawk missiles into Syria. And the other thing underneath of his administration that was done was going after that general in Iran. I didn't like that at all. However, as we saw with Afghanistan, when he ordered them to pull out, they said, oh yeah, sure. Okay. And then the Pentagon did their own thing. Do you think that DeSantis is going to be able to rein in the Pentagon, the thing that he has been the bitch of his entire life? His whole career is based in the deep state, Pentagon, CIA level type people, intelligence, military intelligence people. JAG officer for the Guantanamo Bay. Like that's not a loft. That is not a unlofty position. I should say it's a very lofty position to be held. The other different organizations that he's been a part of that also have their connections with the military as well. He's in bed with all of these people. Do you think that he's going to stop that stuff from happening and the foreign wars from happening? He's on a leash. Trump is unleashed when it comes to all of that. But unfortunately, as we saw underneath the Trump administration, they have done what they want to do. So there's going to have to be much more severe actions than just simply a presidential order, by far. But anyways, I think that's a big point to make about DeSantis too.
Actually,
that's a big point.
Awesome.
What the heck are you doing here? Stay on Rumble. What the heck? What's wrong with you?
Nobody's talking to him.
You can say what you want, like Mike did.
So I do have a few things here before we get to the U-Haul, and I've been trying to limit my shows to about 2 hours, and we're about 20 minutes away from that. I doubt that's going to actually happen. We might actually go a little bit long. So GOP voters flocking to Trump aren't hungering for good vibes. Republican lawmakers who are trying to turn the page on former President Trump say voters are turned off by what they describe as negativity. But polls show Republican primary voters aren't all that hungry for good vibes. Senator Tim Scott launched his campaign for president this week, declaring Americans hunger for something positive, and the voters are thrilled to have a conversation about optimism.
I mean, of all the gaslighting, are you serious? Like, all Trump is positive. Like, that's all he's ever been. Like, the entire thing, his whole thing. I mean, again, the Trump dance. Do we have to do the Trump dance? Like, I'm hoping everybody knows the Trump dance. There would be no Trump dance if there was not optimism and if there was not positivity going around, right? Like, there's no Trump dance without that. Like, I mean, but whatever. Tim Scott has crowned himself the king of positivity now, I guess. Like, it's unbelievable. Oh, you mean the guy with like practically negative numbers in all polling since he's announced? Unbelievable. But whatever. Americans are hungering for a thing that Americans aren't hungering for, which is you, Tim Scott. Sorry, you're a nice senator, whatever, but like the whole nation is not hungering for you. I'm just saying. They're not hungering for you. I'm sorry. It's not happening.
Right. I mean, we don't really know that much about him yet. So it's, we'll listen to him. We'll hear him out and hear what he has to say before we actually say, nah, completely. But, for now, it's a temporary nah. Senator Mike Rounds, Republican of South Dakota, endorsed Scott last week and wants to move past Trump. Says we have to have a consensus candidate if we're going to win, and thinks Scott can bring our country together. This guy, yeah, there you go. Senator Republican leader Mitch McConnell said after 2022 midterms that too much chaos and too much negativity associated with Trump's influence on the GOP had turned off a lot of these centrist voters.
Which is why he went to DeSantis, and now all of them have been backing DeSantis. But, I mean, may I just say, based upon some of the things that I've been listening to Rich Barris, which Rich Barris is like super freaking smart, and he has all of these contacts. He is in the know. Like he beat out Barnes when it came to the whole Trump and DeSantis possible ticket together. Like, he beat out Barnes with that. Barris is freaking smart as crap. Okay. He has talked about how, based upon some of the things, people leaving the DeSantis team, like a lot of the, big Republican donor, Wall Street people, that kind of deal. They've been leaving the DeSantis side. They've been going to now, from his sources, have been talking about Glenn freaking Youngkin, the governor of Virginia. Again, another governor that's done a lot of different things on the surface, but not a lot of things in depth. And also, again, the electorate is different for a state governorship than there is for the entire nation. It's different politics. It's different. It's a different electorate. It's totally different. Governor elections are not the same as presidential elections. It's just not. It's absolutely not the same. There are different reasons for people voting for governor than there are for president. There are different people that show up to vote for the governor, and there are different people that show up to vote for the president, and some of which either, like some of which only vote for the president, some of which don't care for the governor at all. Like, it's just a totally different electorate looking at it when you look at it. And then it's across the whole nation. You just can't say, well, in parts of Florida or parts of Virginia, this person won here, this person won there. It doesn't work the same for the entire country. The entire country is not, Virginia or Florida is not some microcosm of the whole nation. It's not the industrial Midwest. It's not the Rust Belt. As it's referred to as the Trump Democrat. I mean, we couldn't even get some of these people to show up for the midterms, but they'll show up for Trump. Like, that's how this works. It's different. So anyways, just that in and of itself.
Right. Okay, so this continues. It says,
Another
but
point.
polls show many Republican primary voters love Trump's appetite for political combat and applaud when he takes shots at his enemies, either in the political left or within the Republican establishment in Washington.
Wait. Mike is saying in the chat pretty much what I said with this whole not enough Trumpers to win. That's not the point. It's a different. The Trumpers show up for Trump because they're the only one that he trusts.
I really
a lot
hate
of the time.
people calling them Trumpers.
Not,
They're just people.
Well, I mean, right? Like, they're just the people that
Just
trust
like
Trump,
everybody
and
else.
they don't trust the establishment people.
Calling
it's a different
people names
electorate.
is rude. Just saying.
It's a different electorate. It's a different thing, and it's not to say that they won't show up. They're the ones that are going to for the president because they vote in presidential elections. Like, it's a different electorate. It's a different set of standards for how you run the campaign based upon who you're appealing to, based upon how people vote in different areas, vastly different than Florida or Virginia even, and many other different places in the country. You have to get the whole freaking nation to get behind you, at least the majority. So, like, I mean, it's not to say that they don't show up.
To go along with all that, so then you can see here, it says,
well.
right, you can see a Harvard-Harris poll in 2004 voters nationwide conducted May 17th to the 18th showed Trump dominating the Republican primary field with 58% support, well ahead of his nearest rival, Ron DeSantis, who had 16% support. Scott garnered just 1% support of the poll. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, I get it. It's only 2,000 people.
Nobody.
And
Like,
it's a very small group.
It's so dumb. I mean, when Jeb Bush also gets
every
behind
single
somebody
poll
too, by the way,
you check
that's
out,
also
and
a
it doesn't
signal. He shouldn't
matter
be there.
where the poll comes from. It's showing something similar.
Yeah, they all do.
Percentages are skyrocketing for Trump and minimal for everybody else.
And DeSantis, whatever incremental numbers he was gaining, he's now lost, and he's losing them gradually every freaking day. Because
Trump's
videos
dominance
like
is
that
reflected in other polls. He leads
and
an
other things.
average of nearly 37 percentage points in recent national surveys. So it's like, that's what I said. It doesn't matter which survey you look at. It doesn't matter which poll you go to and you actually check out. That's what's going on. That right there. So then it continues, a different Republican Party. So this is political experts and Republican strategists say that the Republican Party that transformed dramatically since George H.W. Bush won the presidency in 1988 by calling for a kinder, gentler nation, and since George W. Bush captured the White House in a platform of compassionate conservatism, whatever, Trump insisted.
It's so compassionate. We'll just level the entire Middle East. We're so compassionate.
You mean the plan to take out all the countries, including Iraq, Syria, Iran, like 4 others, that were all these other countries that were in that region that they all wanted to take out at the same time? You mean all of those? Oh, okay. Trump instead rallied his supporters in 2016 with chants of "lock her up" directed at Hillary Clinton, and delivered what became known as the American Carnage speech at the 2017 inauguration. Ross Baker, a professor of political science in Rutgers University, said Republican primary voters are more hungering for revenge than a positive message after 2 years of President Biden in office. Tim Scott is not the message carrier of revenge. His is very upbeat message. When he talks about reconciliation, when he talks about the possibility of America based on his own experience, it's a very lofty message, he said. The largest number of Republican primary voters want the restoration of Trump presidency, he said, adding that Republican electorate has become much less on policy than it is on personality over the past decade. He said Trump's base finds him entertaining, and he's appeals to the feelings and rejection of marginalization they experienced.
I mean, that's a really
Even
good point.
though, right, hold on, finish the sentence. Even though Trump, a billionaire, is a member of the nation's elite.
I mean, it's a super good point. DeSantis doesn't do that. Everybody smells the fakeness from DeSantis too, by the way, because you can tell. Like he went on that freaking international tour. He went to Japan, to England, and to Israel to sign like what was it? The anti-Semitic legislation bill in Florida or whatever, which is kind of cringe, I think, to a certain extent. I mean, like, and his whole thing in Japan, Rich Barris sort of mockingly refers to that as bobblehead DeSantis, because he just got all like weird and like bobbleheaded and all like irritated, and like, like people started asking him questions about like, well, what do you like at the polls? Your polls are just your polls. And he's in Japan, and he just turns around. He's just like, well, we'll just have to see. I'm like, whoa, what the heck is that? And he's like cocking his head around everywhere, and like his eyes start to get real wide. It's like, what the freak? Like, people can smell the fake. Like, people can smell the fake, like across the country.
Definitely.
Like they can, like whenever you're like, oh, I'm not really gonna run. I'm not gonna run. I don't know. We're gonna explore this, and then you start like bashing Trump on Pierce Morgan, and then you start like freaking, going after all these different things internationally. Like, oh, let's hop here, let's hop there, let's have some international tour to put on some stage show of like, oh, see, look, I can walk around on the world stage too. I'm presidential too. Like, people can see that. People can go like, okay, like this is just a performance, right? Like, it's performative. It's all performative. It's unnecessary for DeSantis to go to Israel to sign legislation for the state of Florida. Like, it's just completely unnecessary. But he wants to put on a show. Like, people can see that. People across the country can see that. And that's why his poll numbers are decreasing ever since these instances. Because it's just like, it just smells and looks slimy, and people just don't like it. It looks establishment. It sounds establishment. Every one of his speeches is always some sort of like, well, I shouldn't say every single one, but a lot of his speeches, a good majority of them, are done by speech writers. It's not off the cuff stuff like Trump always does at like, a lot of his rallies and everything else. Like, DeSantis is very much by the book when he talks. There are some things where he goes off the cuff and people like that, but a lot of stuff he talks about, especially when he's talking to more national, where like he's talking on a more national stage, or he's talking to, different people in different venues nationally, it's all very scripted and very robotical, and people kind of catch on to that after a while, and then things start piling up and just people lose trust, and that is showing up in the poll numbers as his poll numbers are decreasing. So anyways, that's another point.
Divinity. Nice. Good to see you.
Ron sounded weak to me today. I haven't had time myself to listen to the entire thing. Like I said, I can't even get it to play. I don't even know what the heck is wrong. Like, it'll play, but like the audio is so low. It's like, where is this? I don't even know what's happening. But anyway, I have to fix all that to listen to the whole thing, but I've listened to parts of it.
Here you go. Let's move up a little bit. So this is Fox accused of going woke after leaked policy exposes stances of leftist ideology. So
Really?
yeah,
Supporting the trannies and like the children who were that their parents were transitioning, and Fox News was like, "Oh, it's so wonderful, it's lovely." You mean that wasn't woke?
it's
Where
these
they get
couple
freaking
quotes in
Bruce
here
Jenner,
that matter the
the
most,
man,
right?
to become a contributor for for like some Republican contributor or something like that? Like really? Like you don't think that that's not woke people? But oh, now we're just realizing a lot of people are. It's like, come on, like they've been this way forever. They've been not necessarily forever, but like they've been this way for a very long time, and now we're all seeing it out in the public. So anyways,
Right. So this says Fox News employees are allowed to use bathrooms that align with their own gender identity rather than their biological sex, and
oh my
permitted to dress
god,
in alignment with the preferred gender. They must also be addressed by the preferred name and pronoun in the workplace. These are just a few of the policies outlined in the company handbook dated January 2021,
oh
a
great,
copy
yeah.
of which was shared by the Daily Signal. Fox also offers to help employees come up with a workplace transition plan to ease their gender transition at work. The recent revelations have surfaced at the time when conservatives have expressed increasing angst against Fox Digital's usage of activist terminology such as gender-affirming care. In a website article, additionally, there have been criticism regarding the consistent utilization of female pronouns for individuals assigned to male at birth, such as TikTok celebrity DM and that swimmer Leah. Yeah. In June of 2022, Fox faced significant criticism for on-air segments that lauded child's gender transition as inspiration to others. So as far as that goes, maybe it's a good thing that Tucker's no longer there. Maybe it's a
that's
good thing
one of the
because
reasons why
they've
as
been,
well he left. Yeah,
or
excuse
maybe
me,
that's one of the
fired.
reasons, or maybe it's one of the reasons that that they actually ended up the way they did. Because they just decided that let's go along with their gender ideologies, and it's okay if we go along with the leftist crap, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. They'll leave us, stay. They won't cancel us.
Right. Oh, by the
Yeah.
way, Paul Ryan, the person who sits on the board of Fox, oh, he's backing and supporting and pushing for DeSantis. Wonderful. Like it's just, oh, but wait, like DeSantis passed all this stuff in there. It's like, well, I mean, sure, but like, I mean, what are the actual, intentions here? I mean, there have been lots of, even in the past, Republicans that have signed good legislation, but they didn't write it. They didn't, like it's not that as though they're the ones like super supporting it. I mean, he himself even said, like, the Trumpers, like, how do I get the Trump people and I don't piss them off type of deal. Like, referring to them as a separate group outside of what would be his supporters, which he didn't actually reference. He had supporters. So there was just the Trump people. How do I get them? Right. I mean, he's been a fraud this whole time. So like, to what depths are we talking here? Now, maybe I'm being a bit too quote unquote conspiratorial, but hey, that's just my mind wondering, I suppose. Did
Hello,
anyone?
Jessica.
Yo.
You go. Check that out. U-Haul man who tried to crash into the White House and unalive Joe Biden has charges quietly downgraded. Huh. Why? Why would they just do that? That doesn't make sense. Did you hear about this? About this U-Haul?
Wait. Read that again. Hold on a second.
U-Haul man who tried to crash into the White House and unalive Biden has charges quietly downgraded.
Really? Really? What? You mean this guy, Sai Varhashith? Sounds
Kandula.
like
Sai Varshith Kandula, 19.
I mean, he
Yeah,
sounds
right?
like a white supremacist. I
Yeah,
mean, if you wanted a name
absolutely.
for white supremacy, that's it.
Absolutely. And when we get into this, you actually see that you totally should probably be calling them that. We told you the media would run away from this story once they identified the U-Haul driver was identified. Sai versus Kandula 19 rammed security barricades near the White House early in May 23. Explosives were not found inside the vehicle, but a notebook and duct tape were found in his backpack. There was also a Yahtzee flag, something the left zeroed in on, like a Tomahawk missile, before Mr. Kandula was revealed as the perpetrator. So they totally zoned in that. It hit Twitter over and over again with a picture of the U-Haul and the flag all unfurled, laying on the ground in front of the truck or whatever. And
Now, this also
several
concerns
pictures
me,
taken.
ladies and gentlemen, because we also have an incident, and I'm not sure if Koolfrogg, you covered this in previous days. The ammonium, what is it? It's not. Is it ammonium nitrate? Is that what it's called? Right.
The train from Wyoming to California. That
Yes,
lost
and
its-
all of
yeah.
all of that stuff is gone. It's used
Yep.
for
Been
fertilizer and
covered.
explosives. Do we all know what happened with the Oklahoma City incident there with the truck that went, or quote unquote the truck that went kaplooey?
The U-Haul.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I don't. Did he use a U-Haul? I don't think it was.
Yeah. The U-Haul. Go figure, huh?
For Oklahoma.
Yeah, I believe it was a U-Haul, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I don't know if this is signaling something. I mean, I'm not sure. I would be very suspicious. I mean, we are dealing with things. I mean, they just gave all the senators a satellite phones. They just handed them all out to the senators, all the U.S. senators, in case of emergencies and things going down. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into election season. They've taken Tucker Carlson off the mainstream cable news, which was the only voice that would even be willing to say anything about this, by the way. So,
right.
I mean, I would be very, I would be definitely on the lookout. I'd be definitely on the lookout for who you're in contact with over the internet, because this is I think this year or maybe next, they're going to start pulling punches, and by them I mean deep state people. I mean, because this is very concerning to me. This whole incident with this guy, then the missing ammonium. Like I said, what is it? Ammonium nitrate. I forget the chemical name of this, but the ammonium stuff that goes kaplooey, right? Quote unquote. I mean, this is very concerning for quote unquote false FLAG incidents. FLAG, like the American flag. FLAG, false, that thing. I'm very, very concerned about that.
Mm-hmm.
And also the people pouring across the southern border. I've heard reports of somebody that was down there. He claims that there are over 20,000 that he has been able to count himself, based upon him and other sources that he has down there. Over 20,000 Chinese nationals that have several $1,000s on them already in U.S. dollars crossing the border. Also, there have been reports of cartel people getting together, talking about causing a little bit of mayhem and havoc in the United States as well. There's been several incidences. What was 3 in Texas within a matter of a week that happened. Incidents of violence and killing.
What's
One
up,
of them,
P. Beaver? Good to see you. Glad you're here.
Hey, it's P. Beaver. What's up? The incidents of the guy down there, right? That he also was supposedly a Yahtzee when he was a Mexicano or a Hispanic or whatever. Not to group them all together. Not to be
Winning Reality. Go check out the show from 2 nights ago. Just saying. So, anyway, a non-white man from Chesterfield, Missouri, committed the crime. He was, at the time of liberal media deployed countermeasures. Kandula reportedly wanted to kidnap Biden, assassinate, and then take over the government.
All
That
himself.
handbook might be a manifesto allegedly containing many pages of writing. Whether that will be released anytime soon is a mystery, given how prosecutors are trying to move on from the incident since it's decidedly not an attack motivated by white nationalism. The slew of federal charges that Kandula faces from the attack was downgraded to a single count of depredation of government property. Huh. Isn't that something? It's just, nothing big here. We didn't attempt
I know,
to do
right? It's
anything.
just like,
There's
oh,
no
you get initially
manifesto because
charged.
whatever. I'm not white.
Right. You get initially charged, then it doesn't go to plan. But I really do think that they probably would have dropped it down anyway, maybe, depending upon whether or not this was a patsy or whether or not this was an actual dude in the know.
This last paragraph is hilarious. This last part here. Look
I don't
at this.
know.
I also don't think it's accurate to call him a neo-Yahtzee. I think the kid might have some problems, just to guess, guys. Okay, now there's mental problems. Okay, no mental problems when it comes to anything from the left. The second
right,
that
like
it's him,
people who walked into the Capitol building
he just
on
might be
January
something
6th.
wrong.
Right, exactly. Like people who walked in the Capitol building on January 6th, just walking around, they get arrested and they get charged and they get thrown into solitary confinement for 2.5 years. But this guy who literally has quoted for himself intent to try to quote unquote take on the government himself, rams his car, does all this stuff, has Yahtzee memorabilia and everything down the list of what you could quote unquote prosecute somebody for doing. Oh, well, we're just gonna, lessen those charges. See, but no. You people that were walking around January 6th and were escorted by the cops. Oh, no. Like you all are going to be in solitary your whole life. Like this is how you know what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Like this is a total fraud.
We're gonna do like 2 more articles and then we're gonna actually call it a night. So, yes, a little bit longer than I had projected going, but it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Really, might have been where I remember it from. Yeah, winning. That's probably it. There you go. Just a couple few things to kind of end the night on. A couple little fluffy little stories. In California to ban Skittles in state where children can get changes without parental approval. They're banning Skittles. They're like, no, you can't eat Skittles. The California State Assembly has passed a bill that would ban Skittles and other delicious candy treats from chemicals contained that are linked to health issues. This is the same state that passed the bill last year, making it a state sanctuary for minors seeking changes. According to KTLA 5, Assembly Bill 418 passed overwhelmingly in the chamber last week and now heads to the state Senate, where staffers told the outlet it is expected to pass and the candies will be banned. Sorry, California, you get no candy. The bill prohibits the manufacture, sale, and distribution of products containing titanium dioxide, potassium bromate, red dye number 3, brominated vegetable oil, and propylparaben in the state. So, there's a lot of stuff that they're going to actually take away from California. They're like, no, you don't get any of this. No candy.
I mean, to be quite honest myself, I don't necessarily disagree with this. However,
I don't
California always goes the crazy route with this because they're crazy libtard wackos. And so they just make everything harder,
like saying
and everything more
bees
crazy
are
and complicated.
fish. Let's go along and just make up as many rules and laws that we possibly can about anything and everything. And to limit your abilities to do whatever is you want to do.
Right.
Right. So it says these chemicals have already been banned in the European Union and have been linked to cancer, reproductive issues, and developmental issues in children. But what also has links to reproductive issues is sex changes and medicalized gender transition, which is allowed in the state, even on minors. So PM's got a point where they're actually like, well, okay, you're going to say that it's okay for this to happen because, whatever, but you can't eat candy because it could actually hurt reproductive
Right.
rights.
In other words, this is just all fake virtue signaling because, oh, well, see, look, we banned something that
ding,
has a lot of
ding.
toxic stuff in it, but oh, we're just going to like destroy your children and physically mutilate them because, hey, that's fine. That's fine. They can't eat Skittles that hurt them,
ID crisis.
but they can take everything else that's 150 times worse. But whatever, we're California. It's great. Unbelievable.
Good to see ID crisis.
Yes,
Surgical
hey,
transition
ID, what's
involved the removal of healthy organs, leaving the person on the receiving end infertile. Puberty blockers, which have been deemed a pausing point for children questioning their gender identity and often called fully reversible, have been revealed by some experts to cause fertility issues in children as they grow up and potentially continue down the path of transition. They're also not fully reversible, with bone loss and other bodily changes remaining permanent. Director of Boston Children's Hospital Gender Clinic, Dr. Jeremy Carswell, explained in a video that 12 or 13-year-old testicle-bearing person who has a male, 12 to 13-year-old male, hasn't really had too much puberty. Yeah, sure. Maybe nowadays, but back when I was 9, I remember going through stuff. So, I mean, just saying, who's given a
Putting
puberty
chemicals in the
blocker?
water.
Just saying, I went through puberty at the age of 9. There's not enough puberty going through at the age of 12 and 13. Okay,
There's
whatever.
not enough puberty going on
What the
in
hell?
the age of like 17 at this point. Like, it's unbelievable.
Even those that are even older in their 30s and 40s are still not going through puberty correctly because they want to.
Atrazine.
It's a big deal. That's something you must have in conversation about, she
Radiation.
said. In California last September, a bill was signed into law that allowed kids looking to receive so-called gender-affirming care to seek refuge in the state. So anybody that across the country that just said, well, my parents not allowing me to do what I want, I'm going to go actually take off. And my parent can't do shit because California says I can do what I want at any age because it's okay.
Right. So they
SB 106
brainwash the children and then bring the children to themselves.
Right.
And the parent says, well, no,
The
child,
article
you
is
can't do
very
that. And the state
interesting
says,
that it
no.
starts off with them banning Skittles and actually just kind of pushes through to gender ideology stuff or whatever. And, saying that, that they've passed several laws saying that it's okay for all this, hormone replacements and all the surgeries to, remove body parts without a question. Just, it's okay. It's all good. Republicans in the state have attempted to block schools from secretly transitioning children without parents' knowledge, but Democrats blocked the bill by receiving its first hearing. And Assemblyman Al Mertucci is saying in April that the hearing would happen not only because the bill is proposing bad policy, but also because the hearing would potentially provide a forum for increasing hateful rhetoric targeting LGBTQ youth. Just a ridiculous article in itself. I read through this. I had to read it twice earlier today to even get the point at what they're trying to get at. And pretty much what they're trying to get at is, you're going to go ahead and you're going to do all the stuff and say that you can't, do this, that, and the other, or you can do this, that, and the other at any age you want. But you're damn right, you go to the store, you're not going to find any candy anymore because it hurts you. The double standard of California is ridiculous.
And again, as is pointed out in the chat, it's the multicolored candy. It's the literal rainbow candy that's banned too. It's just unbelievable.
It's the literal rainbow.
The guy that I listen to called Jay Dyer of Jay's Analysis, he has the YouTube channel. He refers to LGBTQ as Skittles just in passing all the time. He just says, oh yeah, the Skittles people. But now you can't say that for California because they're not going to know what that means because there's no more Skittles. It's just so insane. As ID
So-
said, it's like literal Twilight Zone level of like insanity.
Kind of stay with the ridiculousness of gender ideology, the way they've actually been pushing it. Almost every other company out there has actually brought themselves to actually be woke in a sense or two, from Bud Light or to Maybelline to Levi's to almost any other product placement thing that you can possibly think of. There's so much. Rainbow Raptor, Ford trucks, to whatever it is that you can possibly think of. Right. Whatever you can possibly think of, almost every company's attempted to go woke. And they're all starting to find out. And they're all starting to find out, in particular ways. And here's Target, that Minnesota-based company of Target. This says Target to move Pride merch to the back of the store to avoid Bud Light situation. They don't want to go broke, but they want to still virtue signal. They still want to virtue signal. So, okay, so let's do this in a different way. Let's just move all the product to the back of the store, where people don't necessarily always go, because, who shops at the back of the store? Oh, kids, because that's usually where the toys are, in the back of the store.
Yeah, Target is literally targeting your children.
Isn't that something?
Isn't that just amazing?
Yeah, go figure. So Target has repeatedly held emergency calls with a number of managers and district senior directors, instructing them to scale down the store's display of Pride-related merchandise. Target's decision to sell the selection of LGBTQ-themed clothing and accessories to children was slammed by many on the right, and as a result, the retail giant has sought to avoid the Bud Light situation. It's so funny that it's become that. It's a Bud Light situation.
Yeah, like it Bud Light is
like
literally now.
You see, they are the poster child of what not to do of Bud Light.
Literally.
According to Fox News, an insider with nearly 20 years experience working at Target revealed that the company appeared frantic. We were given 36 hours and told to take all of our Pride stuff, the entire section, and move it into the section that's a third the size. They told the outlet, from the front of the store to the back of the store, you can't have anything on mannequins and no large signage. They want to explain that Target is terrified of having a Bud Light situation, that many stores, primarily in the South, have already implemented the changes, a claim that has supported by Fox News' own investigation. Again, fuck Fox. The Bud Light debacle has sparked a series of boycotts and backlashes that have impacted the company's reputation and bottom lines, causing them to reconsider their moves. What Bud Light represents is the first time where a company has to think that, hey, let's be careful. Let's not go too far left wing. Let's not go too far woke, because it could destabilize, debilitate, destroy an overall brand of our company. Outkicks Chadwick Moore said during the interview with Fox Business. Quote, I guarantee you right now they're having conversations about let's not get Bud Lighted. They're like trying to use Bud Light in almost any way, shape, or form to actually make it a thing. All those marketing boardrooms. And I think Target has lost that lesson. Turning Point USA founder and podcast host Charlie Kirk went as far as to call the Republican attorneys general to launch a criminal investigation into Target CEO Brian Cornell, referring to him as a pervert groomer.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would 100%.
I'm just like, what in the world did they freaking do? Okay, so
But see, this is the thing. It's like Bud Light loses all this money, but the rest of the companies don't care. They just keep going. Everybody keeps going because this is an agenda. It's not about making money anymore. It's about taking control. It's about destroying your society and your culture. They've already made all the money. All the mega corporations have made all the money. The Committee of 300 already has all this stuff. They don't need to. I mean, these people, if the lower levels of people in these companies get fired and laid off and whatever, who cares? They've succeeded in the agenda. The mega CEOs and the mega corporations and stuff, like Bud Light's CEO, he's former CIA. Like that's a total. You can draw a direct line to him from his former employment with one of the CIA prop ups.
right.
So,
We
like, I
talked
mean,
about RFK Jr., didn't we? At one point in time,
did we talk about RFK?
I think we
I
did.
believe we have.
Maybe
believe
we
we
were
have.
doing an exclusive at the time, and we were over on the Rumble. I think. I don't think we were on the YouTube side when we did that because of what it was that he was actually talking about. He was
Oh
speaking
no,
of
that's right.
Koof-
We were on the YouTube side, yeah, but you didn't want to play that. We didn't get a chance to play that on Rumble. I don't think we did that on Rumble. Well, at that time.
You want to answer a question on that?
What I think of RFK, I really like RFK. I do have some disagreements with him on a couple of issues. But generally speaking, I like him. If it was between him and some rhino wacko, I would probably vote for him, actually, if he actually won it. But he's not going to win it because they're not going to elect him. I mean, that's just obvious.
No, and I'm with you on that one. If for who to vote for, if you were voting one way or the other, and you were limited to who you were actually voting for, if RFK was up against any other other than Trump or DeSantis, maybe, yeah, definitely, I'd definitely go with this guy. His stuff is actually legit. He actually has points, and he actually points out some of the stuff that most on the left are afraid to actually point out.
Oh yeah, like he's totally anti-establishment. He's totally anti-NWO and WEF. He's anti all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He does, but now again, some of the people talk about with him, and I addressed this at the time.
That one right there, that's the one
That's
thing
it.
that most of people actually click on and be like, nah.
But
I
see,
don't
that
like
in
him
and of
because
itself, that's not accurate to what he believes, because he doesn't think that the climate change stuff should be forced, should be implemented everywhere, and that people should be like somebody played a video out of context of him asking that people who were saying that like people who believe in this should be like thrown in prison or whatever. That's completely out of context from what he was trying to address, which was the Koch brothers, big CEOs and stuff. That goes against, I mean, he's even come out publicly now and addressed that and said, no, I don't think that if people disagree with me about the level of climate change that's going on in the world in regards to like the polar ice caps and that sort of thing. But most of his career has been dedicated to things like the Ohio oil spill type stuff, that kind of thing. Most of it's been that kind of thing. Most of it's been in the pharma industry as well. So, the whole thing with the climate stuff, he's not for it. He said multiple times this is being used to institute a governmental control system. That's all that this stuff is being used for, and I don't want that. What he's always fought for is the stuff that, most people would agree with, which would be, let's not toxify water, let's not toxify the air, let's not toxify, like he's genuinely doing that. He's not like one of these virtue signaling wackos. Like he genuinely believes that. Now, again, does he believe that the climate is changing drastically? Yes, but he doesn't believe in all the crazy measures. He doesn't believe in all the craziness with that. So he's not going to become president and just be like, okay, that's it. Those of you who don't believe in climate change, you're all going to a prison camp. Like, that's not what he's saying. He says that people who are the mega corporations who try to influence politicians to do things that would be against the environment, like, say, Koch brother people and other things that he believes would be against the environment that then result in what he believes is climate change, then, he would be totally against that, and he thinks that should be criminal.
Yes, exactly that. And I see Go Hagen's, I'd vote for RFK. He's good when they won't even let him speak. We've covered him, a couple different times or whatever, and I agree. He's maybe the better choice out of the bunch. That's for sure. When it comes to Democrats, and even some Republicans, just saying. He's a good guy. I do like him when it comes down to it.
I mean, he's genuine. Like he's honest. He's upfront.
You've all heard me tell my story several times that I was one of those guys that have voted for Obama twice to turn around and vote for Trump. Yes, twice. Will I vote for him again? It potentially depends on what's actually happening, what happens as we progress. Do I still have a flag up behind me that says Trump 2024? Oh, hell yeah, I do.
The best scenario would be for RFK to get on the ticket with Trump. Now, there are several legal things that would have to be dealt with and gone through.
I think both of them kind of said that they would not do that. So
well, but see, that's what it is for now. But things may change. I'm hoping they do. Maybe they don't, but I'm hoping they
potentially
do. After the primaries are over and RFK is completely lambasted and decimated and thrown aside by the Democrat Party because the establishment does not want him there. So they will Bernie Sanders him times 200,000 out the window because he has the last name of Kennedy and he's not with the establishment. So I mean, I'm hoping that those perspectives really change with that. That would be, if they got together on a ticket, they would be unstoppable, literally.
ID says, but climate engineers wacko shit.
I mean, I don't know what exactly he means by climate
engineering.
Well, I mean, there are different terms for that than I would say.
The way I look at it is, potentially, people actually thinking that they can actually create the weather that they want to destroy or protect lands that they, that they feel that they can actually produce their own, weather patterns. And I engineering wise, to me, it sounds kind of disturbing and, scary to think that they would, have the abilities to even do such a thing.
But I mean, we were talking about RFK. I don't think RFK's even addressed that. So I think he's talking about the whole, Micah Hagan's geoengineering. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like, but I mean, that's a whole other conversation outside of man causing the climate to change because of because of bad practices and things. That he does believe that, but he's not a totalitarian about it.
True. So there's Heidi. I thought he was amazing. Honestly surprised he was a Democrat after hearing him speak over the last few years. I'd love him and Trump together. That's my dream. I don't get why he didn't run as independent. Running as independent wouldn't have gotten him anywhere, in my opinion.
It really wouldn't have. You're right.
Just because the way the independent thing works is it's never worked. It's never worked. So, you have to either be on one side or the other, which, when you look at, even Trump and himself, he was a Democrat forever. He said straight up that he was Democrat forever. And then
Heidi says,
as he went to go run, he ran as a Republican. So now this guy, that's what he's going to do. He's going to go run as a Democrat because he feels that might be a better platform for him than what the Republican platform would have been.
Yeah.
So.
And he's always been a Democrat as well. Like that's been a family thing, like JFK himself was a Democrat.
Border issues.
He has said that he does not believe in open borders. Right. That's another thing.
Right. He's not for the open borders, but he also really wasn't for building the wall. So, I mean, he kind of, though he would rather the border be closed, he wouldn't continue doing whatever Trump had started. So it's kind of a throw up on that one or whatever, toss up or whatever to, think about. If you want 70 votes, then you can stick independent. That's always fun. Yeah, right. And that's the thing is that's why he wouldn't run as independent. He'd have to run as Democrat to even make it anywhere. ID Crisis says, here's a scenario. DeSantis wins primary. Trump goes full Trump and runs independent. Kennedy gets burned and become Trump's running mate.
I like how he spelled that. Get it? Burned. Like Bernie.
Yep.
Bernie Sanders burned.
Bernie Sanders, right? Any
one.
takers? I mean, there's so many thoughts and
That is an
opinions to go along
insane
with
scenario.
this.
I don't think that happens at all.
Right. As we continue through the next year of actually following, all of these elections, because we will continue to follow all of it like we had been for the last how many, year and a half. We will continue to actually follow, these goings on and what actually happens with, both sides. Though we're as adamant as we are when it comes to certain things, I think I can actually get away with it. I don't think anybody's, Tadpole should be sleeping by now. It doesn't sound like he's awake. I still have the Trump 2024 flag. I still have a Let's Go Brandon flag because fuck Joe Biden. Anybody that's going to vote for Joe Biden can fuck off. Go away. Get life. Go move to Canada or something. Go get used maid something. Just saying.
Perfect. Oh my God. But where do we go from there? Holy crap.
Where do we go from there?
Just to respond to this real quick, he could do, if that scenario did happen, I know the likelihood of this is just absolutely minuscule, but if this was to happen, he would have a better chance of an independent ticket, Trump would. And if he did take Kennedy as an independent as well, he would go full bull moose party and possibly get the majority. Now, the votes would be split. I think, if that scenario was to happen, DeSantis wouldn't get too much, but he would get a lot of, more, establishment type Republicans that would just vote along with the Republican Party because what else? I mean, in that type of scenario, like there's lots of things going through people's minds. So don't necessarily know, but it would be, if I was to reference it, it would be like Teddy Roosevelt running the Bull Moose Party, and Teddy split the vote for the Republican side. That's how we got Woodrow Wilson, because Teddy Roosevelt was so popular that there were a ton of people that went and voted for the Bull Moose Party, which was Teddy Roosevelt's party, or kind of like an independent type of a thing, but it was his own sort of party he made. And there was William Howard Taft, right? Taft was his name. I know it was Taft his last name. William Howard Taft, I think, was his first name. But anyway, but Taft, the guy that got stuck in a bathtub, was the Republican, and a lot of people liked him, but they didn't like him as much as Teddy Roosevelt. But because the vote was so fractured and split, the Democrat ended up winning out because it was so fractured up. But I think Trump might actually push that over the line, especially with Kennedy, if that kind of a scenario did actually happen. That's kind of my opinion on that. So, but that's just like an insane scenario that
Sure.
I don't think has any likelihood of happening at all. Like less than -1% chance that happens, because Trump is already in such a lead in the Republican Party. He can just like walk away with it right now and just claim that he's the winner, and just like nobody would care. Like that's how much of a lead he has.
There you go. Shirts, I agree with you 100%. I love Trump, but I have a Kennedy back in the White House. Wow. Together, those two men would be unstoppable. And that's, they could be.
They would combine the populist left type people who like America, love America, but who have, they're like the Jimmy Dore types. The if anybody's watched the uncensored, excuse me, the censored people that do journalist stuff on Rumble and YouTube as well. Those people. Oh crap! What's his name?
No.
But you know who I'm talking about. You can look it up on Rumble. They're always like when they go live.
So
they're always.
I do want to shut this down.
Those kind of people.
It would 1 o'clock in the morning for me. I've gone longer than I wanted to go in the first place. I'm fine with it because why? Because we got America shirts, our first .com. Yeah,
hey.
We're gonna close this out little bit different tonight. So, out of respect for this person, we're going to actually show a few things here before we actually leave. So,
I heard
rock
this
and roll
earlier today.
singer Tina Turner has passed away at the age of 83. Very sad to actually hear and see. There's been several people, I'm sure, that have actually hit on the particular topic and have actually showed their sadness, for such a great human being and superstar as she is. Very, very well known. I want to say just what every person in the world knows who Tina Turner is. So we're going to say goodbye, and then I'm going to play a song, and we're going to kick out because most likely the song will get yeeted. It'll be edited later on the YouTube side to keep their algorithm happy. So thank you all so very much for being here. Make sure that you check out americashirtsaretfirst.com.
And with discount code of Koolfrogg, you save 15% on anything in the store. Go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Do keep in mind, I am still kind of like looking at how to update some of the things because I don't know exactly still, and things have been very busy for me, so I really haven't had time to look into it still. But the front page, the home page, is still kind of a little wacky. It's still like that zoomed images, but everything still functions. It's just like the images on the front page have kind of whacked out a little bit. So, and I haven't had enough time to address that just yet, but you can still go and make purchases at americashirtsaretfirst.com. That is americashirtsaretfirst.com with a discount code of Koolfrogg, the lovely host of this show, as you can see here. You save 15% on any shirt in the Tees.
And of course, everybody make sure you hit the Rumble channels for myself and America Shirts.
Indeed.
If you haven't already, go check out the locals. I have been actually producing content there as well. We will be back here tomorrow night for sure. I will be tomorrow night for sure for another episode of Shtick with Koolfrogg. Thank you all so much for being here. And we're going to actually play a song on our way out. So that's how that works.
Hey, Moose Maneuver. We were talking about the Bull Moose Party. You missed it. You missed it.
All right. We're going to play this song and we're going to actually go at the end of the song. So love you all so much. Later.